Step off, hoser. Welcome back, everybody, for another episode.
We leave each other alone for a week, and you bounce back with super cool Bongo Cat. That has to be legendary into itself. I like to think that the Patreon money has come through. We animated that from scratch, but I don't think we did.
Yeah,
But
no.
however, absolutely hilarious, perfectly timed, especially on this wonderful, fantastic Thanksgiving long weekend in the United States of Americas.
Happy Thanksgiving to all of our Americano friends
Yes.
out there. Hoping that you had a great Thanksgiving, survived Black Friday, and now that you're home and safe and watching us, welcome, everybody.
Welcome. Waka
Waka.
Yeah. I've tried to make this joke on Twitter. I tagged you in it, but I deleted it because unfortunately the joke didn't quite land. And the joke was, you ever seen those outdoor flash fry? Let's cook a chicken in 30 seconds deep fryers.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's still going on. It's like, we got this deep fryer. Okay, great. What are we gonna do with it, honey? Well, we're gonna put it out back, keep it safe, put a giant pile of leaves, and then just insert that son of a bitch frozen turkey in there, and everything should be fine as we burn the house down and collect insurance money. Gosh, I love America. Can we take a chicken? Yes, we can. Can we kill it? Of course. Can we stuff it full of cheese? Yes. Can we freeze it? Of course. Can we flash fry it in 30 seconds in my backyard? Of course we can.
Just cycling through the hellos from everybody. Welcome back,
Awesome.
everybody.
Awesome.
And happy belated Turkey Day as well, everybody. We have Stan in the chat. Welcome, Stan.
Stan!
Working a third shift. Rip.
Oh, good lord.
Good grief. Gav, we have Tom P. He's a scary cat.
Yeah, no, don't.
Scary kitty.
Don't.
Gippy.
Gippy.
Demon Wolf, thank you so much. CM Chris, Galaxy Red. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much. Phoenix Animation, Phoenix Aurum, chilling in there. Blaze Firestorm as well. Welcome everybody.
Yes.
We have some topics to talk about today.
We do. We almost have a week to make up for, don't we?
Kind of. I mean, it was kind of a slow week last week.
It was. The vibe wasn't quite there, etc.
Yeah. No, it was kind of like like a lull. And my prediction for the lawsuit being the appeals being decided and out before Thanksgiving was unfortunately incorrect. So
what? You're how can you be wrong?
It's like I can't predict a judge. It's incredible. But there was another decision. Decision.
There were several decisions, several landmarking, not appropriate UK type like stuff.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. So what the topic we're going to talk about today?
What we're going to talk about today.
There's already a million YouTubers that have literally shot this horse into hamburger meat.
Sorry. Do you like your horse hamburger lean or pulverized? Well, I like to put it in a Dixie cup and suck it with a straw. No problem.
I like it liquefied. They have successfully beaten the fork horse into the ground.
Oh, good lord.
But speaking of Thanksgiving, I know a lot of people are confused because Canadians have Thanksgiving early. We have our first. Thanksgiving. We have the first Thanksgivings. What about second Thanksgiving?
The bestest ever in America is we'll have the second Thanksgivings, so we can give and keep on givings that we always do all the times.
But what about second Thanksgiving?
Oh gosh.
Yes, we have ours in October, so we already had our Turkey Day. So
in the UK, they don't celebrate Thanksgiving.
The UK does not. Yeah, the UK does not have Thanksgiving.
I kind of tripped across that the other day. It's like, what? I thought the whole planet celebrated Thanksgiving. Like the Americas with the flash fried turkeys and burning down the backyard and shit.
Yeah, yes, man says British people don't have anything to be thankful for.
We are proper primed English people, and well, people could thank us.
Steak it. To quote Rodney Dangerfield from Caddyshack, this steak still has marks from where the jockey was hitting it.
I tell you, some people don't give us any respect.
Oh my God. Yes, we're not going to liquefy this dead horse any further. We're not going to be talking about the Johnny Depp lawsuit.
Possible?
However, we are going to talk about. We're going to talk in the ballpark of it, though.
Okay, all right. So we're in the ballpark.
I'm talking the ballpark of it because, like, personally, it's like whatever, you know. Like UK courts, they decided something stupid. Apparently, like Amber Heard has the judge in her pocket, and she's, you know, whatever.
Did you hear about all that craziness that happened with that?
I did.
And I caught a little bit of it. Yeah.
The thing is, it's like there's thousands and millions and 100 billion fucking YouTube videos out there about it. Hello, Airtie. Hello, Airtie in the chat as well. One of my Twitch followers.
Hey there.
Hey there. Hey there. So yeah, we're gonna talk in the ballpark about this because here's an interesting thing, right? I don't know if we slipped and hit our fucking head on the corner of a coffee table in the past like month or so since the elections.
Well, I think several people have, and I think they're liking it because I think they're making it into a sport.
Oh, we have Ken Jennings in the chat as well. Congratulations on your new gig, by the way.
Yes. Yes, not Ken Jennings. It's not going to be on the new host of Jeopardy. No.
The new host of Jeopardy.
Yeah. Alex has found that final question in the sky.
So something happened in the universal fabric of America.
All right, what happened, America?
When CNN does what they always do every single election. Every single election, the news.
We called Philadelphia.
Congrats on your racist tweets. Yes, congrats on your racist tweets as well, Ken.
Hey, Ken. How's the caliber of your jokes today?
Huh? You enablest son of a bitch.
Exactly. Go print off some guns or something. Jesus.
Exactly.
Anyway, sorry. Ken's interrupting us.
Trebek was a fucking saint, Ken. How dare you?
Exactly.
How dare you?
Ken, we deserve a little bit more than this, you uncouth bastard, you. Bastardage. There we go. Anyways, Ken's distracting us.
You bastard.
There we go.
You bastard. All right. So
how can he do this? Bastard. Thank God I can't read anything.
So one second here. Okay,
right.
Cool. We're good.
There we go. All right.
So something happened in the universal fabric of America.
Yes.
When CNN and AP News and everything, all Associated Press, everything said that Biden was projected to win.
Yes.
The president-elect and blah, 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 blah. Okay?
Yeah. From the office of the president-elect. Did you hear about that too? He's made a fucking office, Crumb. I'm sort of interrupting your
It's made up.
I know it's made up. It's so funny. It's like
it's a media term.
The office of the president-elect. What is this? Like a fucking like a closet without a door?
Sure. It's a media term that the media has been declaring for the past God knows how fucking long. Like it's a
my closet
media term.
Yeah. Okay.
So here's the funny part.
All right.
Right. All right. They've been doing this for as long as I can remember. They've been announcing the projected presidency, even though the president's not really the president until they're sworn in. Yeah. And they're always going to be president forever.
Yeah, forever and ever.
So here's I don't know what happened in America, but I remember when Trump got announced as projected winner.
Yeah.
And people were losing their fucking mind on the Democrat side.
This is true.
Right?
People were crying in the streets.
Absolute meltdown, like literally screaming, having absolute fucking meltdowns, and then you have
like the Bongo Cat.
You have the one side of the aisle pointing and laughing at the other side of the aisle, saying, "Look at how terribly and blah 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 blah." Right?
Just deplorable peoples.
So fast forward to now.
Yeah.
2020.
The future. Okay. The future. Who knew it'd be so plague-like?
Galaxy Red says president-elect isn't a media term, but projecting him as one is definitely a media projection. It's a media term in terms of this is what they declare. It does. It's nothing. There is no official position as president-elect. Is what I mean. It's just a made-up thing.
Yeah.
To let
is this person an editor? Jesus, Murphy. Who are these people interrupting you?
So basically, what it comes down to.
Yes.
What it comes down to here. Yes. Now we're 2020, 4 years later, and now the shoe is on the other foot. whether it's correct or not, whether there's fraud or not, because there's fraud in every fucking election.
No, U.S. elections have fraud. Unthinkable.
Every election has fraud. I mean, like in history.
Oh God, yeah.
Let me take you down a rabbit hole, okay?
Sweet. I got my light. Let's go check it out.
Do yourselves a favor and a disservice at the same time. Go to a LARP game for a year.
Oh, good Lord.
Any like vampire LARP game or medieval LARP game or anything like that where you have to like be under the rule of somebody and understand that there is corruption in every form of government ever, period. Okay.
Yes.
Just go to a LARP game because I had the absolute pleasure. You can tell the sarcasm is not there at all. I had the absolute pleasure of being a part of a vampire LARP game where we literally had because if you understand the world of darkness as an aside here, they have a prince, right? They have a prince that they don't get elected, they just literally kill the other prince and say, I'm taking over, no one can fuck with me, I am the strongest person,
which is great, survival of the fittest.
Usually how that goes, in like monarchy and stuff like that.
Of course,
like you conquer and you take over. So there was a LARP game where one of the Covenant parties is like political minded bullshit, and they said, no, it's a great idea, we're gonna build a government.
That's amazing for supernatural creatures of darkness,
and we're going to have democracy. We're going to have a democratic vote on who's in charge. I spent the better part of a year building a democratic process with a bunch of morons.
You poor fucking
in a LARP game where this is supposed to be fun.
Oh, yeah. It was like a crumb. It's just so much fun being supernatural creatures of darkness and basically engaging in the political system where we go get guys like, come here. Well, look at my talking. I dominate you. Okay, you're going to do this, you fucking meat puppet. Go fucking do it.
We're talking
Just
about
my foot.
We're talking about creatures that snap like a dry twig.
Yeah.
If they lose 25 cents in a pop machine.
Yeah, exactly.
So and I can tell you firsthand, there was less corruption in our democratic process than there was in any of the fucking political processes out there today, which is saying something. But my whole point is, people are surprised Pikachu because there is corruption in an election. Y'all need to like take a step outside. You'll need to take a step outside.
That's right. Breathe in the nice cold winter air.
So let's just say that first of all, just relax, take a step back from the ledge. Where this is going, where this is going, I'm going to be critical of a few people here.
All right,
I'm going to be critical of a few people here.
Hopefully, no one in the chat.
We have spent almost I don't know, going on 3 years.
Okay,
defending an individual.
Yes,
Senor Mignana.
Yes,
from really shitty accusations and falsities, and we've seen people on the other side losing their fucking mind over literally nothing, right?
Orange Man bad.
This, that, whatever else, right?
Yes.
We've seen that firsthand. So we've seen it. We've also seen people take really, really stupid things like a jelly bean joke and turn them into the Holocaust, right?
Yes.
We've seen that.
It's damning. It's damning.
Okay.
How can someone do that Write someone's name on a fucking candy and go, I'm going to eat it. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say something here. It's not a very popular opinion.
Oh, really?
Okay. It's not a popular opinion here.
Well, I got your 6. Spit it up, bud.
So there was a show that was written in 2018.
Okay.
The entire script was written in 2018. They animated it and they released it in 2020. Okay.
Oh goodness.
Y'all might have seen this little show. It was a reboot called Animaniacs.
I've never heard of it. What's it consist of? It sounds animated.
They are zany to the max.
Oh, really? Really? Do they got baloney in their sacks?
They do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do they got fat contracts? And they got fat contracts.
You should see their fat contracts.
Oh, I could see the fat contracts.
Yeah, you should see them. It's crazy.
Animaniacs
got a reboot. Steven Spielberg brought back Animaniacs 2020.
Yeah. Okay. On a dare.
And there was I think it was a Pinky in the Brain segment.
Okay.
I think I watched it. I haven't watched the entire season yet. I've watched like 3 or 4 episodes. I watched it and I thought it was funny. Okay. There was.
Well, you're a silly little bastard. You know that. So
there was some like I think they were doing some internet meme thing.
Oh God! So basically, 2018 memes in 2020. This might as well be 20 years written.
This is coming from a show. Okay. Let me just say this.
All right.
This is coming from the Pinky in the Brain segment when they were doing like one of the other segments where they literally made a Leroy Jenkins joke. Okay.
So 2000
literally made a Leroy Jenkins joke. So this is how far back we're reaching for jokes. Okay. This is nostalgia. This is nostalgia.
This is old 70s nostalgia stage of the game.
And so when they did this particular segment and it was just a quick like pan across, people with their infinite knowledge freeze frame every fucking thing of this and they read into every single goddamn thing. So there was movie posters. I guess it was movie posters. I don't know. There was just posters in the background. Yeah. One of them said Johnny the Beginning. Okay. And it was a little baby. And it's like, okay, that's whatever. And then there was Johnny 2 Telling Lies, and it had Johnny Depp starring in it.
Yeah.
And people lost their fucking mind.
Oh,
like literally pant shitting in the street, like
ew,
cats and dogs living together. This is this was an affront to Johnny Depp. They absolutely did this to insult him because of Warner Brothers.
On the ground.
Okay, let's just say this. Okay.
Right. So they gone fucked up.
This is from a show.
Yeah.
That made fun of Bill Clinton's blowjob in office. This is a show that literally has sexual innuendos woven into the fabric of this fucking series. It's a joke.
A badly landed.
Well, it's not even badly landed. You know what it was? You know what it was a reference to? Wow. More than likely was a reference to, and also a swipe at Johnny Depp. But have you heard of the stupid little animation Johnny Johnny?
No, I haven't.
So there's, I don't know if it's like, I don't know where the hell it's from. It's from some like I don't know, some fucking
chat. Get the chats on it.
Anyway, basically it's like a little animation video, and it's like this kid that's eating sugar, from the fucking bowl, and his dad walks in, and he's like, Johnny, and the kid's like, yes, Papa. Eating sugar? No, Papa. Telling lies? No, Papa. Open your mouth. Ha ha ha. It's Johnny. Yes, Papa. That's what it is. It's from that fucking rhyme.
Okay.
Johnny 2, Johnny, telling lies. And of course it's a swipe at Johnny Depp because, whatever. But sure, they didn't have the fucking judge decision in 2018. But they're making fun of a fucking situation, which they do on the show all the fucking time.
And I think Johnny Depp had all of his fingers in 2018 too, but I'm not quite too sure.
I'm pretty sure he did. Let me just look this stupid thing up. People don't believe me. If people don't believe me,
why wouldn't they believe you? This is our show. We
It's
control the
a song,
vertical
apparently.
and the horizontal. We
It's a
control
song,
everything in the
apparently.
next 2 hours.
We control everything for the next 2. Not adjust your television.
Welcome to the Canuckleheads.
Don't see from that garbage. Get out of here.
That man is way too old to be that child's father.
That's ageism. That's enabling. We will not allow that on the show. Ken Jennings is not here, sir.
That's right.
Ken Jennings is not here, sir.
Wow, that's a trip down memory road. You remember this bad animation? Oh, my eyes! I need bleach.
Right.
All right.
So like, I mean, like they've made like a bunch of jokes. Like they made the Trump joke, where I think it was Odysseus was like pissed off the gods, and so they sent him, and they basically they put him on an island with this giant Trump cyclops, and he was using Odysseus to exfoliate his orange skin. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Wow. Papa could be a nickname for grandfather, says Galaxy Red, so he's probably a grandfather.
Who is this Galaxy Red person? Jesus, I'm kidding. Anyway,
he's talking right now. There you go.
By the way, wait a second, Mr. Red person. That's Mr. Mister. No abbreviation. Thank you.
Ken Jennings says Ken's not here. Leave a message. Exactly.
What is not Ken Jennings?
For anybody that was curious of what that's what it's from, and like that's a new version of the thing, and the old version I saw a long time ago. Yeah, but it's like
that is a long time ago.
So let me just say this for the people out there that are literally running to fucking kick a table so they can say they stubbed their toe.
Let's square office.
Please just pump the fucking brakes, okay? Animaniacs. I don't even know if most of these people watch the original Animaniacs.
Well, there's. You're talking about the people who are upset.
Yeah,
probably not, because they're probably all like but they're all 16, 17. They're going through first time things and getting new feelings and getting their cell phones and going on Twitter, thinking they know fucking everything.
Animaniacs was a show that punched in every direction. This
is true. Yes.
Right. So they take a swipe at every. Watch the fucking Buns episode. Okay, that was fucking hilarious. Number one, I don't think I fucking laughed at a cartoon as hard as that fucking episode. And then I find and I didn't even realize.
I just read Johnny.
I didn't even realize what the fucking message was until literally the end of that episode, and when they came out and fucking said, it's not like America has what the hell was it?
Gun control?
No, they were talking about bunnies. Like, so in this show, some guy shows. You've seen it? Have you seen it yet?
Well, this is the funny part. I know where you're going with this, counselor. Long story short, they replace guns with bunnies.
Exactly. So he shows up with a bunch of buns. A bunch of bunnies.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he's giving bunnies out to everybody, and then there's bunnies everywhere, and everyone's having a problem with bunnies.
They're so fluffy.
And so they call in the dingoes from Australia to get bun buyback, and and they ship him off, and he's like, "We have the right to bear buns." It's like, no, this is a kids show. Like,
by the way, did you hear the other faux pas that the season of Animaniacs did?
Okay, let's be real. They did that on purpose. That was 100% on purpose.
I like to think it was honestly by accident. No, I think someone was asleep at the fucking wheel. Who knew that 888-555-999 would lead to such different rabbit holes?
No, I can guarantee you that was on purpose. I can guarantee.
Okay, wait a second. Just entertain this thought just for a second. Just imagine if it wasn't. Just imagine that.
That would be
even more hilarious.
Fucking biggest galaxy brain mistake. Like, fucking seriously. Yeah. And everybody loves God. The fingerprints joke went way over my head. Yes, like, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, let me tell you about this. Like, this show holds a dear spot in my heart, right? I really hope that they bring back the Wheel of Morality.
Oh, Jesus. Well, they have a second season. So the distributing aspect, that's going to be very, very interesting. Because again, this should be on HBO Max, not on Hulu. But of course, as I said before, all the stuff was drafted in 2018, the past, future. And it's like, it's going to be interesting how they move forward with this. Because again, Disney's still attached to Disney Hulu. It's a mess. So it's going to be interesting how many seasons they've got penned, if you know what I mean.
I'm just trying to find this one line because like this one line at the end of it was just so fucking hilarious. I'm gonna butcher this. I'm gonna butcher this so badly, but basically at the end of that episode, they were talking. Yakko was talking to Wacko, and Wacko was like asking about something, and then Yakko just like nonchalant was just like, "Well, it's not like America has like an assault shoe problem or something like that." I'm just like, oh my god, they're talking about guns. It was great, but yeah, good idea, bad idea. I want to see that. I want to see that again. Oh my god, yes.
Oh goodness gracious.
Crumbs swear I thought this was a Christian stream. God fucking damn it. No, it's a pagan stream, motherfucker. It's a wholesome pagan stream, you son of a bitch.
Well, time to take off the clothes.
we dance in a river of blood in this fucking stream. Let me tell you.
We do?
Yes.
I thought it was just a campfire.
No. Oh. Wednesdays we wear pink.
That's it. Oh goodness gracious.
Yeah, I at first I was a bit weary about the whole Pinky and the Brain thing, but they've done a really good job with that so far. From what I've seen, it was pretty hilarious. I think they're kind of just like towing it right now to see what they can do. I think they're going to bring in more characters later, but this is kind of like a pilot season.
Well, when did season 5 end? Do you know offhand?
Which one?
What year season 5 wrapped up? That's 2000. No, that's 18.
It was like 93.
93
started.
Really? Okay, 93 when they started.
And it was 22 years, so 98 I think it finished.
22 years, 2008. All right, that sounds about right. Yeah, no, the things are definitely pushing the envelope, see exactly what they can get away with, what's too sensitive, so forth and so forth. I think the funny thing is that South Park basically crams their episodes out like in 2 weeks. And I think when Animaniacs were looking at, the animation landscape, I think they're looking at stuff at South Park going, well, you know what, maybe we could do that. And then, of course, the jokes get old really, really quick.
Gangster pigeons have a special place in your heart.
Hey, what do you know about that, huh?
that bitchy squirrel was like fantastic too. Like, there's so much to like 93, like 90, like early 90s cartoons, like Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures, all of those things, and they crossed over quite a lot. Like those two shows, like the Tiny Toons were on, like they made a cameo on the new Animaniacs because they were talking about, I don't know what the hell they were talking about. It was like some song that they were doing, but they like mentioned a whole bunch of like fucking like Looney Tunes characters, even like the weird futuristic ones, and they made fun of them. But
that was a chore to itself.
Slappy Squirrel and the Good Feathers, yes.
Yeah.
The dog and the little girl, Elmira.
Yeah. That's really some 60s stuff there. Yeah, that's some really
when they had the crossovers with Animaniacs. That was so good.
Yeah,
Pinky, Elmira, and the Brain. Like that was so fucking funny. That was so good.
I have to revisit some of these titles because I've honestly forgotten a lot about them. Goodness.
Yeah. So funny. But like, this is what I mean. It's like this show was what 90s comedy was.
Well, yeah,
and it shows you that this world does not like 90s comedy. Well, let me just rephrase that. The sensitivity of
good
for those people out there that remember the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember pretty much all the cartoons making fun of the censors and making fun of PC culture and making fun of like all the stuff and pushing the boundaries because senses of humor?
Yep.
all of that stuff, like it seems like political correctness has won and has killed a lot of a sense of humor in the past 10 to 15 years.
Well, let's also dissect a couple things too. Back when these productions were put together, this thing called the internet, let alone a little hive nest of retardedness known as the twatters, simply wasn't around. And now what's going on is that a lot of these productions just basically remember those pearls I gave you back a long time ago? They're clutching on those giant pearl necklaces of theirs going, oh my god, people don't like what we're doing. How can we make these people happy? Meanwhile, put things in perspective to all the new media people that's out there, it's like discovering a bad comment on your YouTube channel. Like, you guys suck. Why are you here? Your content's horrible. Meanwhile, they start crying, going, why does someone not like our content? Meanwhile, they got 99 other people saying you're doing an awesome job. This is absolutely hilarious. Please deliver content every weeks. You guys are cute. You guys are awesome. Yada, yada, yada. And it's just absolutely fantastic. This is exactly what these executives are going through these days, in my most humble, honest, professional opinion, because they haven't been exposed to the internet. Why? Because they live in their fucking bubbles. What do they do all day long? They talk about fucking scripts. They talk about things that really have no matter, and they start putting their productions together. They get the big fat paychecks at the end of the day, so forth and so forth. Copy, rinse, repeat. But however, the thing is that now you got these craziness in social media going, this joke offended me. Oh my gosh. I have to burn my house down. Does it cleanse the idea from my brain? And meanwhile, people are going, whoa, fucking sunscreen much? Oversensitivity person? You want to sit down and talk about your problems, perhaps?
Like that's what I mean. Like if people are getting a tan from sitting in their basement in the dark, like they really need to like. That's not the world's problem, right?
Well,
like
true.
This was a thing that a lot of shows were pushing back on in the late 90s because there's a huge push for censorship and for PC in like 98, 99.
And we showed this on the show several times.
Yeah, and we've talked about it a bit before. But like the thing is here is like it seems to be hitting a fever pitch because now we're getting shows much like the canceled Thundercats Roar, by the way.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, my dad and I were talking about that, just basic inspiration from pulp culture. And I told my dad, what I mean by inspiration is that watch the opening intro from Thundercats from the 80s. Compare it to Thundercats Roar, and you'll see exactly what I mean by inspiration, caring, and all the stuff in between. And my dad goes, yeah, I could see your point. And then I was shocked and amazed my dad saw Thundercats Roar. I may have to put him in all age home sooner than later, but that's another story for another time, I suppose. But however, yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. And at the same time here, I blame, what the hell is this?
I remember Chicken Boo. I also remember Katie Kaboom. That was great.
Yeah, and the thing is that it's just really a shame that we can't go back to some of this humor and just push forward with things, because again, there'll always be that really small percentage of online folk who would hate everything you do for the sake of them tearing things down so they could feel better. Like, heaven forbids, you and I have not been a part of that at all in our illustrious fucking event planning careers. Like, never, ever, ever.
Here's the thing that people are starting to wake up to.
Okay.
And this is the pivotal moment that we need to fucking grab our friends that we have been standing arm in arm with for the past 3 years. Yeah. We need to grab our friends by the collar and shake them and say, don't fucking turn into these people because we're almost out of it. Just fucking stop.
Yeah.
We're almost out of this fucking culture where people are like, oh, I'm just going to scream as loud as I can, constantly, even though I'm wrong, to change people's opinions.
Yes.
Like, people are realizing now, and it's starting to happen. It's been several years in the making, but it's starting to happen now, that 10,000 people on the internet aren't 10,000 people.
No, they're not. They're mostly bots.
all of the hundreds of thousands of people that say they aren't going to buy your product or go to your event, they weren't going anyways.
Remember, Crumb, they will vote with their wallets.
Yeah,
but it's a free event.
So like, don't turn into what we hate here. Yep. Okay. When we're freaking out about a fucking joke on Animaniacs, like, I get it. If they were in our face about one side and then treating the other side nicely, I would be 100% about this, about canceling whatever else. The point here is Animaniacs has taken swipes at the left, at the right, and everything in between. Yep. That's what they do. They lampoon things. They make fun of things. They attack things.
There's Amy.
There's Amy. They make critical jokes about things to get people to look at it and laugh about it, because laughter is the best fucking way to approach this stuff. Because we have been living in the past 20 years. We have been living in a constant state of fucking fear, paranoia.
Oh yeah.
And you know, shut down everything.
Yeah.
And like, look at what we're doing right now. We're living through a pandemic where everything is getting shut down left and right. And fear everywhere. Fear everywhere. So what's the best way to combat that? It's fucking laughter. Laugh at it. Have fun.
Yeah.
Joke about it.
That's for sure. And at the same time, don't get too romantically involved with light sockets and wall.
Yeah, just don't stop sticking your fucking dick in a light socket, please.
I wasn't going to say that, but yes, do not get your dick in shocking mode.
I just I really it bothers me to the core.
Yeah.
When I see people who I know are fucking smart and who I know are good, like, are critical thinkers, that are so wrapped up in shit that they can't take their head out of their ass to see daylight. Like, I'm not going to name names because that's rude, but there are people out there that are losing their fucking minds over the Johnny Depp situation. And the fact of the matter is, it's Johnny fucking Depp, dude.
Yeah.
Like, Vic Mignogna loses a fucking role. Like, that's his life, right? Look at it. Like, he doesn't make $100K a year by doing nothing, right?
Did you hear the unfairness that happened to poor Johnny Depp? Well, he couldn't do his Harry Potter role anymore, and it got some other actor in there, and it's just so
you can't work for fucking Warner Brothers anymore. So you can't work for Warner Brothers anymore.
But he got paid out.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Okay, you take someone like a Vic Mignogna.
Yeah.
And this is no knock on Vic, right? Because like, he's huge in where he is, but he's not Johnny Depp. He's not making $100K a fucking year for sitting on his couch eating Cheetos. He still has to work. He still has to make money.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp can literally do nothing and earn royalties from all of his shit, or just like literally sit on the millions of fucking dollars that he's made.
Yeah.
I get it that people are in this mindset to defend people because of injustices. Here's the thing, and we've heard people that are smarter than us talk about this a million times. When you're talking about divorces, when you're talking about family court, when you're talking about interpersonal bullshit, this is a dirty system that favors one side over the other, and it's been that way for as long as I fucking lived.
Oh no,
it's going to continue being that way.
Yep.
So here's
something
the thing.
Snaps down hard.
Here's the thing. It's not going to change today. It's not going to change tomorrow. It's going to change by people going in there and forcing the system to change, because it's not going to take protests. It's not going to take television scandals, because that shit gets swept under the rug. It's going to take people going to fucking college, going to university, becoming lawyers, becoming judges, and changing that system, because that's how it changed in the first place.
Yeah.
You see a bunch of liberal lawmakers going in and making all of the laws liberal right now, right? Liberal, like, you see things, people complaining about judges and this and that, whatever else. They have leanings. I personally believe politics should be left out of the courtroom, but that's not the case, because humans are human, and judges are human, allegedly.
Allegedly, well, they come from fats. Like, I believe there's a documentary called Star Wars Episode 9 where they explain where judges come from. Just fats.
Where's that beeping coming from?
That is coming from the parking lot, bud.
Oh,
and it
okay.
stopped. So trying to break into a car.
So Randy Scribner Jr., did you guys know that Johnny did one scene for the new movie, so they have to pay him all the money? Exactly. So I'm saying, like, as much as I feel bad that the guy's getting his fucking dick kicked in on like every media right now, it's really, really easy. It's really, really easy to get your like ass kicked straight off when you're getting a $10 million payout. Just saying.
Yeah.
Hard to feel bad for that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, justice. I mean, what is justice in the situation, right? Like, what is justice in the situation?
It's supposed to be
both of them. Both Johnny Depp and Amber Heard have a lot of fucking shit out there on them now. Like Amber Heard's reputation and people are seeing her for whatever.
It's shredded. It's absolutely shredded. Like the thing is,
shredded.
I will not see an Amber Heard film moving forward, regardless what she's in. I heard a rumor that she might be taking over Sue Richards, the new Fantastic film. If that happens, I'm not going to go see it.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch
it. Aquaman 2 that's coming out and she's in it. I'm not going to see that either because, again, I'm not going to give energy to something that I feel is negative. Simple as that. And the thing is that, don't get me wrong, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp aren't the two most perfect people on the planet. I am very sympathetic towards Johnny Depp. I really feel this is really, really unfortunate, especially when they had a fight that escalates at a certain point that he got his finger severed, for goodness sakes. And the thing is, I think these are very, very horrible, horrible things. But at the same time here, it's like, I'm glad that Depp had the precautions put into place, like videotapes, stuff like that, so forth and so forth. And what the hell does Ken want now?
Well, Ken's saying everyone will still believe her because she quote unquote won the case, but she didn't win the case.
She didn't. Exactly.
The case that got quote unquote won was Johnny Depp's case against a newspaper, which was not Amber Heard.
Exactly. And exactly.
Rule number 1: never sue a fucking newspaper because they always have. They have so much protections.
Yes.
Like literally, it's like devil-clad contract.
Settle a court.
There's pretty much no situation where you ever win against the newspaper. But the fact of the matter here is that the point is yes, people are gonna do this anyways. You can't convince people, much like in the Vic situation where you have people on the other side, on the Kick Vic side, that you can't convince them. You don't need to convince them. You're never going to convince them because they are 100%. I told a story before where I've been in situations where where like Vic have had people stab me in the back because of one way or the other. In LARP, funny enough, I had somebody make a heinous accusation about me, and I had another person who was unrelated to the situation at all. And this is where I realized that people are disgusting human beings. Unrelated to the situation at all, tell me, not to my face, but through a Facebook message, that they don't care if I did it or not. They hope that I burn.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So you can't convince people because there is no convincing them because they want things to be a certain way, regardless if it's true or not. What you have to do, if you want to actually be persuasive for people, make a persuasive argument. Don't sit there screeching and screaming and making a million videos about how it's unfair for Johnny Depp. Everybody knows it's unfair. Anybody that has to have a fucking brain in their skull knows it's unfair.
Sure.
And anyone that's looking at the details can tell that. But you have to be rational about it, because if you start being as extreme as the other side, people are going to tune you out.
Yeah. You become the thing that you're campaigning against.
Yeah.
How incredibly odd.
Yeah, it's Nicholas Sandman says hello. Yeah, he didn't win. He settled.
Who's it? Sorry?
Nicholas Sandman, the kid that sued CNN because they ran a whole bunch of shit against him.
Yeah. And I think CNN was in the wrong with that. And they basically
they 100%
really shaky
knew
if they're going to win or lose type of thing.
Well, the whole situation with CNN was that they knew that they probably were going to win.
Yeah.
But the problem was everything that was going to get dragged out.
Yeah.
Because of subpoenas, because of everything that was going to get dragged out from the internal processes. They're like, nah. So they settled.
Yeah.
Of course.
And now he's in therapy. sleeping on money.
He's pretty much set for life at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. Brought to you by CNN
at this point.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very rare that you're ever going to win against the newspaper unless it's absolutely heinously untrue.
Yeah.
It's the way it is. And in the UK, it's a lot different as well because it's not like America. You can't apply America's laws to everything else, unfortunately. We've seen that. We've seen that with a certain Australian who's trying to impose Australia laws on Americans. You can't impose other countries' laws unless there's some sort of agreement.
Yeah.
This is just the way it goes. So when we're looking at UK, we have to look at UK's laws, which are very, very heavily favored in terms of what is quote unquote woke, left-leaning, progressive views.
Idea politics.
So that's the ballpark they're playing in. Those are the field rules that they have to play in. So it unfair to Johnny Depp? Absolutely it was. But it's up to people in the UK to change that system. Yeah. And I don't think the majority of people want that system to change.
And the thing is that it's an old, and the funny is people don't quite realize it's an old, embedded, deep-rooted system as well. It can't be uprooted. It cannot. And people don't understand that. And it's like, all right. Yeah. And the thing is, again, getting back to the whole Depp thing, it's unfortunate what happened. I think we both know what happened behind the scenes, more or less. And the thing is that it's completely unfair. And the thing is that that's just how those dice are rolled. As I keep saying, as a layman in law and everything else like that in between, it's like, hey, you can get yourself a lawyer to defend you, but can you get a judge to play ball? Exactly what happened the whole Vic thing. Like the thing is that before Ty said, hey, let's bring this case here, did he do any research into the actual court itself? Did he have the ability to turn it down and find another judge to possibly work with, or someone who's more closer towards what they're looking for? Here's
the thing: being critical of Ty in hindsight is one thing.
Of course.
Do I think that he could have approached it differently? I mean, absolutely. There's a million different ways that you could approach things.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that the opposition, namely Lemonhead, did an incredibly good job at trolling and baiting them into
old school trolling,
baiting them into fruitless arguments.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun, but he did a really good job at baiting them into arguments that had nothing to do with anything and muddling the case.
Yeah.
If Ty had just stayed on course and not tried to, dunk on him or whatever you want to call it, I think that's where he kind of lost Chup at first.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because Chup had a lot of other shit that he was like, he stepped on a Lego, whatever else.
Exactly.
But the fact of the matter was, it's like you have to look at it and say, okay, well, hindsight is great and all. Yeah, there's a Lego.
Mm-hmm.
Hindsight is great and all, but it's just like that's all it is. It's hindsight. You can't do anything about it in the future.
No, I agree.
So, in terms of this situation with Johnny Depp, was it unfortunate? Absolutely. Was there a lot of shit that got dragged out? Like, I don't even know. Like, was it a divorce that they were doing?
Oh yes, most definitely. What it all comes down to is that the biggest drag out component that I could recall.
They don't have kids. It's not a custody fight. It's just
the thing is that I think there is kids involved. I think one of Johnny Depp's previous marriage or something like that. That there's basically, it was proven that they weren't good partners or good parents or something along those lines, and all of that came completely out. Like the funny is, I didn't know who Amber Heard was, regardless of the Aquaman stuff, until this came to the forefront of things.
Well, that's also what I mean too. Like.
Yeah.
When you're talking about this, we've seen this with Toy Box Toy, divorces get ugly.
Oh yeah,
shit comes out. Every bad thing. Every time you left a fucking toilet seat up, it's coming out.
Sorry.
Every single time. But the fact of the matter here,
because it's so true.
But the fact of the matter here, and I agree that male victims are treated poorly, but this is not a situation. Let's separate these two issues here. Okay. This is between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, right? This is between the two. Johnny Depp is, I don't think, I mean, as far as I'm aware, he's not suing her for, like, abuse.
Well, this is the thing.
Like,
the thing, my friend.
What was the lawsuit over? Was it over divorce, or was it over him suing her for domestic abuse?
What we're talking about here is a newspaper that Johnny Depp was suing for libel.
I know. No, there's two lawsuits. There's two lawsuits going on.
I think the other lawsuit hasn't been concluded yet. I don't.
No, it hasn't. It has not.
And the thing is that's going to be happening in American court of law.
No.
So the thing is that
it's still UK law.
Are you sure it's UK law?
It's Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. They're in the UK.
I thought that was in the US for that particular court case. Again, I'm 100% sure. I'm about 75%.
I don't. Sure. This is the whole point I am making, though.
Yeah.
I have heard so fucking much about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard lawsuit.
Yeah.
I have no fucking clue what the hell is going on. Well, I don't know if they're getting. I don't know if it's over a divorce. I don't know if he's suing her for domestic violence. I don't know.
The answer is yes to both those questions.
It's not, though. If you're in court for a divorce, you're not suing them for domestic violence. That's a separate case.
Oh, okay. I thought it was all partial. Yeah. I'm a layman. I said it before.
When we're talking about law, you have to be very specific,
of course.
Right? Because here's the thing: look at Toye's case, right? He wasn't getting sued for domestic violence, even though domestic violence was included in the reason for his divorce proceedings.
Yes,
right. He wasn't being charged with domestic violence. He wasn't being on trial for domestic violence, but it was being used as a reason.
Yes,
right. He never got charged with domestic violence, even though he was an abuser.
Yes,
which was clearly stated in the judge's decision for the restraining order.
I believe you.
But the whole point here is, I don't even fucking know where all of this information is coming out of. Is it coming from divorce court? Is that what this is? Is Johnny suing Amber Heard because she abused him? These are important things. Like, because this is a very big distinction. If we're talking about male victims, and Johnny Depp is not suing Amber Heard for domestic violence, that has to be a separate issue.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you can't fault the court for not handling a domestic violence issue if he's not suing for domestic violence.
Yeah. And the thing is that I don't know what's happening in that aspect of things. I'm gonna say sure. Why not?
If there's somebody,
I'm an idiot.
if there's somebody in the chat that understands what's going on with that entire thing, because I know one.
We need Flash.
I know one lawsuit was because he was suing a newspaper. I have no idea what the original lawsuit was.
As far as I could tell, again, grain of salt here, whatever it is. Long story short, the divorce procedures have not gone through yet, and that still has to go to court of law. This is basically libel from the newspaper perspective. And as I keep saying, is that this is just as confusing as our meeting with City Hall when people thought that people were suing Vic versus Vic going after them. This is how confusing these stuff could get really, really quickly. So it's like
my point, another one of my points here that I want to hammer home is every fucking day of the situation with Vic, we were hammering people on the other side. We were hammering whatchamacallit, Monica.
Yes.
We were hammering Marchie. We were hammering all of these alleged victims.
Oh yeah.
Why didn't you go to the police? Why didn't you see? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that?
Oh God, don't get me started on that. But
so the whole thing here is you have to go through the proper channels to get things addressed properly. Yeah. You can't just walk into a Walmart and then file a complaint and then include a complaint about a Burger King and expect that to get completed too. You can't. Okay, so Depp is suing Heard for defamation. So he's not suing her for domestic violence.
No. I don't think
Lady Phoenix just said in chat.
Okay.
Depp is suing Heard for defamation.
Well, there's gonna be more than just defamation, but that can be one of the few things. I know this has many parts. That's the one thing I do know. How many parts are there in the labels? Don't know.
Robert Bunn's asking if you're so lazy you can't even set up in the frame. That's kind of his shtick. It happened since the first episode, and it's just kind of that's just his shtick now.
Yeah,
he's laying on his bed. That's the joke.
Jesus, for a second I'm kind of going, what?
Yeah.
Are you new to the show?
Here is the thing of the thing. Right?
Thing.
She's making false claims about Johnny Depp. So all of this stuff is coming out because of his defamation case, right?
Yeah.
He never went to take this up. I don't know if he did or not. I don't know if there's police reports.
We don't know.
But again, this is stuff that I'm hearing. This is the main stuff that I'm hearing. And if I'm not hearing that he went to the police and they did nothing, if I'm not hearing that he went and sued and got nothing out of it, then I'm assuming it didn't happen because everyone's focusing on certain things. And this would be a very key thing to bring up. Hey, a police report of when Johnny Depp went to the police and they said, go fuck yourself, Johnny. But these are things we asked Monica.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I get the whole male victims thing. I get it. I get it that male victims are treated poorly. Traditionally, absolutely they are. And absolutely violence happens against men all the fucking time that goes unjustified and it goes without justice.
Yeah.
The whole thing here is that in order for that to stop, we have to go through the proper means.
Yeah.
We have to go through the proper procedures.
Yeah.
And I get what Ken's saying. It's that the man is always at fault and believe women, blah, 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 blah. The way to change that is to provide facts, irrefutable facts.
Yeah.
If it comes down to that you're too fucking proud as a man to go to the police and say that, like, with a black eye and say, like, I have domestic violence, like I've been a victim of domestic violence. If that's the whole reason that Johnny didn't go and get it taken care of.
Yeah.
Like,
well, as far as I could tell, he did, but again, this is, in my opinion, very no, it's not complicated. It's involved. If you don't know the details behind it, you don't really know what's going on. In this particular case study that we're looking at right now, as I said before, we're looking at Johnny Depp suing a major publication for defamation. That's what we're looking at here.
So yeah, and Little Rocks is saying, therefore, we heard about abused Depp via audio recordings and video recordings. If these, and this is what it's saying, these recordings existed, why did he not go to the police and say, I am being abused?
I think he did.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
As I just said 2 seconds ago, this is very involved. And it has many moving parts.
This is what I'm saying. Why am I hearing about everything except that?
Well,
because that is the murder weapon. Okay,
no, for sure.
The murder weapon is a police report and the police saying "fuck you." That is a murder weapon to say, okay, there's a lot of corruption going on here. I don't see a police report. If he has this stuff, why didn't he go to the fucking police and report it? Was it because I loved her and I didn't? I was too proud. I don't think he did.
Well, this is the funny part. I think we're just in two opposites of the spectrum here. No pun intended. I think he did go to the police. I think that is filed. But the thing is that I said before, the key word here is I think. I don't know. And the funny thing is that until we could figure this out, if he did it, then what's going on? Oh, God, Ken, what's
I think it's another stereotype. Men do go to the police and are often not believed. This is what I'm saying. They're often not believed because they don't bring facts. When, as a victim of sexual violence myself, I could not go to the police. I could have gone to the police and said this happened to me. Back at that point, I was not trans at that point. Back at that point, I could have gone to the police and said this happened to me. I had no proof. I had no evidence other than my account of things. But that's the thing. I didn't do it because I didn't think I'd be believed. We have to get out of that fucking mindset.
Yeah.
We have to get out of that mindset.
Yeah.
As people, as men, as women, as trans people, anybody, get out of that mindset.
Yeah.
When something happens to you, report it. I don't care. Like, I've told Mr. Hop this 1,000 fucking times.
1,001.
1,000. times. He's like, well, it's just this. No, go to the fucking police, have it on record. If they don't want to do anything, that's not on you. At least you have a fucking record of it. Like there's shit that's happened to Mr. Hop, and they said go to the police station. He's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, no, go to the fucking police station.
Oh, that okay, yeah.
He goes to the police station, and they're like, well, there's not really anything we can do about it, but because they don't want to fucking do anything, obviously,
of course,
they're trash. But insist on making a fucking record of it, because then at least it's on record. So if it happens again or something similar happens, they can go back and say, oh yeah, this actually has a paper trail.
And that's exactly the point. And that's exactly what took place. Because heaven forbids, police officers over my first name.
Yeah. And Ken, I understand that people bring hard factual evidence. This is not something that's going to change tomorrow. This is not something that's going to change overnight. This is something that has to be hammered into the fucking system.
It's an ongoing process.
And just because it doesn't work once doesn't mean that we shouldn't keep trying it.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's something that needs to be universally across the board pushed and pushed hard by everybody.
And push
not just try it once and give up because it didn't work.
Yeah. Well,
this is the activist in me talking right now.
Oh yeah.
This is the activist in me talking right now.
I got a crackle in the voice.
So like when I'm talking about this stuff, it's not going to take one person. It's not going to take 10 people. It's not going to take 100. It's going to take millions. It's going to take years. It's going to take a long time, but it starts with one.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people that get hurt. There's going to be a lot of people that die, but it's going to take time.
And at the same time, here to add a little positivity thing, I think the ball's rolling on this. As you said before, it takes time. I do know there's organizations out there that do listen, that have the proper lawyers in place and stuff like that, defend things. Again, when it comes to stuff like this is horribly, horribly new. And a lot of people don't know how to navigate around this. Like exactly what you said before earlier in our broadcast. The thing is that you didn't believe that people would believe you and stuff like that. And the thing is, again, there's systems like as an example, when I was unfortunately went through my situation back in the 80s, there was no sexual support systems out there. There was no 1-800 numbers. There was no counselors that I could talk to, especially when I was sexually abused. There was nothing that's there. But the thing is, we compare that from the 80s to like 2020, there's a whole bunch of stuff on the forefront, especially for kids, etc., etc. And why is Ken bugging us again?
So he's bringing up the duelist model in many states where police departments basically prevents women from being perpetrators. This is what I've said before, and I'll say it 1,000 fucking times. If you do not like the system, if the system is broken, if the system is not currently working for you, change the system. Get active, get involved, find ways. If you can't do it yourself, find someone who can. If you don't like a politician and no one else is willing to step up, go and be that politician.
Yeah.
What do you think it takes to be a politician? Nothing. You don't need to be educated, obviously. Most of the people that are in offices right now are freaking dumbbells.
Hey, Doug Ford graduated from high school goods.
So, and this is what it is. Look at what people have been doing for the past 20 years. If people are wondering why the media is woke, why the media is left, why things like why politicians in Utah are letting fucking domestic terrorists run the fucking streets, people are doing that because they got active in their communities and forced the change. They became politicians. They became police officers. They became lawyers. They became judges. It takes action. It takes more than sitting on a fucking couch and complaining about it. It takes going out and doing something to make the change. It takes voting in people and being aware, voting in your mayor, voting in your governors, voting in your premiers or whatever else. It takes holding your politicians and local governments accountable and showing them that you're not going to fucking stand for it. It takes protesting. It takes activism. Yeah. Go out there and make the change that you want to see.
Yeah, as I said before, if you're better than what's
telling everybody. I'm not yelling at you, Ken. I'm yelling at everybody.
Why are you yelling at Ken? What did Ken do besides bugging?
Ken's using capital letters.
What? No, Ken. Should we get Ken on the show? Do you want to do that?
Ken want to come on the show?
Does Kenneth want to come out and plays?
Ken's pretty busy with Jeopardy now. I don't know. I think Ken's too big for our show now.
I know. Basically, not being the host of Jeopardy takes a lot of time. Him and his fucking potato mic biology.
Yeah. No, so what I'm saying is, listen, I want people to stand up and do these things because you're seeing the erosion right now. You're seeing the erosion right now of what this system has. Because in the past 20 years, you've seen a lot of females forcing their way into positions that they not necessarily didn't deserve, but they got because of diversity and whatever
diversity
else.
hiring, stuff like that.
This is one thing that I can't stand with companies. Okay. Yeah. You're not hiring the right people for the job. You're hiring what you think the public will think is the right person for the job.
Yeah.
Hire the right people. I don't care what their color is. I don't care what their gender is. I don't care if they come from Mars or Neptune. Put the right person in the fucking place to succeed.
Well, that's what every case you see.
Don't put a person in a position that they will not thrive in because you're setting them up to fail.
Yep. And the thing is that if you and on top of it, if you have that checkbox, they need to be checked. Get the right person in that position. Don't get a person. And as I said before, as I was trying to think of before, is that if someone's being a bad person or a bad actor, which I fucking hate, then be a better person. Be a better person. The thing is that from that one small thing, you could change so much by just being a better person. So if someone's being a dick towards it, don't be a dick back. Be a better person.
Yeah.
So take that.
Just take the Batman model, okay?
God.
Just take the Batman model.
Okay.
It's like it's where you go. Why doesn't he kill the Joker? Or why doesn't he kill this person or whatever else? Blah 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 blah. Well, if he kills somebody, then that's not one less killer in the world because now he's a murderer type of thing.
Yeah.
Right. So like, if you want to affect change, be the change that you want to see. Advocate. And I'm telling everybody out there that's watching this, advocate. Learn what your mayor does. Learn what your mayor's like. Listen to what people are doing. Listen to your city councilors if you have city councilors or whatever else. Find out what they're doing for you. If they're not doing what you want, vote them out.
Yeah.
If they're not, if there's no candidates out there that are doing what you want, then be that candidate. Go out there and campaign. Go and do it. Like, go and do it. Because the only way the system is going to change is if you replace the parts.
Yeah. And replace them with good parts, not just a part.
Exactly.
I think that's the quintessential key because, again, a lot of the problems, and I do mean problems with an uppercase P, has taken place is that, again, this is all an epistemic issues from the 40s and the 60s. And the thing is, again, we just came from so many good times. I'm like, well, you know what? I got a good job. I got this in the prospect. I got some kids coming up.
This is an archaic system that has existed for a very long time. That, make no mistake, it favors one particular party, right?
Yeah.
It favors one particular group of individuals.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. Oh, there he is. I'm just sending the link to Ken if he wants to join.
Oh, good God!
It favors a group of individuals that it favors a group of individuals that are phasing out of society right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like the big thing is that the baby boomers have such an impact on human history. It's astronomical, and I think since we're in the middle of it, it's sort of like I said before, especially with Kitchener Comic-Con. You don't realize all the stuff you do until you take a step back and go, wow, we did all of that. So people go,
yeah,
we did.
And like they had basically the baby boomer generation that and the ones that came before,
poor babies. Yeah,
they had the majority of control over society and things like that, and they have a grasp that is loosening for the first time in a century.
Oh, God,
they don't have voting control.
Yeah.
Of the voting population has swayed to Generation Y, X, Y, and Z now.
Yeah.
And beyond. That's the voting generation.
Yeah.
And so we've been largely Gen X and Gen Y have been beaten into submission and apathy.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the next generation, Gen Z, that are rising up and being activists.
Yeah.
And they don't know what they're doing. You know, it's
Of
like a
course not.
2-year-old. It's like a 2-year-old at the wheel of a car.
Just gonna say a shotgun.
But the fact of the matter is like we're in that situation, you know, that pivotal moment in Return of the Jedi when the Empire gets overthrown.
Yeah, and the thing is, hopefully, there's no clones waiting in the background, because that would suck.
But
And the thing is, you're absolutely right. Like my
shadows of the Empire now.
yeah, well, like my personal opinion is this: the last since 2008, the American public wanted to vote for change. They put a Barack Obama in there. After a while, they found the change was change, but it was sort of the same type of change. And I think America.
Rumor, you can have it. Thanks, God. Oh God.
And basically, then they voted for more change with Trump. And I think this recent election was vote for change to go back the way that things were. And it's like interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So. This is what I mean though. It's like I don't think that I mean. Yeah. Love it or hate it, I don't think that Joe Biden was the greatest candidate.
No, and he wasn't. You're absolutely correct with that. I'm just not saying that. I personally think that, again, he's tried, 3-6 times to run for president and failed every single time. People should ask themselves why that took place. At the same time, Joe Biden has been involved with politics for the last 40 years, but he only remembers the last 5 years. So he's got that clean Bill Clinton Teflon thing going on right now. He looks great when he smiles. People go, "Oh, that's awesome," but let the guy talk for more than 10 minutes. Ooh.
So like it's like we're in a very transitional era right now.
Yeah,
and I think it's paramount that people that want change and want you know to make
and you know what? There's a very good example behind this. I forget the person's name, but this is important. There is a state governor who's trans, and she is now a governor of a state. What's that?
Gippy's just saying he doesn't think the election was a positive vote for Trump. That was a rejection from far left socialism. So that was referring.
Well,
to
yeah, and on top of that, there's some other stuff that's floating around as well. That a lot of people wanted to vote Trump out, so it didn't matter who the other candidate was on the other side of the aisle. They just wanted to vote Trump out, and that was, I heard, 25% of the vote as well. But again, getting back to say before with change, again, there's now a trans person who is governor of a state. And unfortunately, my cottage cheese brain syndrome is really kicking in overdrive because I can't remember what her name is. But the important thing is that this is unprecedented. And it should be interesting how that state works forward, because she wants to put healthcare into place. She wants to benefit her actual populace.
Well, and that should be looked at. And I think it should be used as an example of, if you want to make change, go out and do it yourself. Like, don't sit back and wait for other people to make change for you.
Yes.
Go out and be that change.
And be a better person in the process. That's exactly what's going on. Exactly what you said, Crumb. Basically, this person went out, of course, with the transitional period, and then after that got involved in politics because she saw all of the stupidness that's going on, and she went, I want to change this. And she is. And it's going to be very interesting, from my opinion, how that state's going to work moving forward. Just imagine that state got Medicaid for all. Just imagine that. Because every state could operate in their own jurisdiction. Like,
it's a very interesting thing to keep an eye on. Like these small stories, right? So, I mean, you look at places that might have voted in their first female elected or their first person of color elected, etc. They're being given the reins and say, okay, you know what? Here's your chance.
Yeah,
show us what you can do.
Yeah, go do
like they could do something great, or they could turn out like Chicago's like Beetlejuice, and just run the entire thing into the fucking ground. But the point is that then you learn this person did not work. Okay, well, what do? We're going to find someone that does. We're going to find someone that listens to us. We're going to vote accordingly. Don't just vote, or don't just go with red, blue, green, orange. Vote for the fucking person.
Yep.
Like, what's what it comes down to.
And there's another great example with that. Saskatchewan. You know the party that's in power right now? The Saskatchewan party. Because basically the thing is that Liberals didn't win, NDP didn't win, Conservatives didn't win. It was basically the Saskatchewan party that won, with a majority for a second term with a new person at the helm.
Yeah.
Like the thing is that everything that you're saying, everything we're talking about is proof positive. You go out there and you make the change. And the thing is, if you resonate well with your constituents, this should work out really, really well. And what do we got here? Oh, it's Stan.
Stan's saying, if do what you can to change yourself before going towards government. I agree.
No, that's not true. Change government and then change yourself.
And then Ken Jennings is saying Medicare for the states, for all in the states, is not fiscally viable. I mean,
wait a second. Stop. Full stop. Ken, my very good friend, here's something you should fucking know. $5 trillion was given to the top 1%. There is no way in my little dyslexia blue hell mind that from that $5 trillion, a couple of billion could be given to every single person in the United States of America. They decided not to do it. And I'll take anyone to the map behind this. And the thing is that Ken, my very good friend, yes,
robot.
It is. No, fuck robot. It is possible. Look what's happening in the UK. Look what's happening in Canada. Look what's happening in Australia. Look what's happening in every fucking country on the planet except for America. And before people go, well, that's socialism, we don't want to give the economy stuff. Hey. Let's look at a couple of things here really, really quickly. I'm going to rant just a little bit longer, and I'll basically give the floor back. Look at your roads. Do you pay for them? No. Look at the libraries. Do people pay for them? No, because it all comes from taxes. Look at the firefighters. No one pays for that because it comes from taxes. Same thing with the police. And the thing is, you're going to tell me that you can't afford an actual health system that could take care of everybody instead of taking it over your own pocket? Like, this is the biggest thing that really fires me up. America is supposed to be one of the most bestest and smartest countries on the planet. When I hear stupid shit like that from very smart people, it really pisses me off, because yes, they could do it. And especially with, I'm going to say this again, $5 fucking trillion. From my recollection, America is $21 trillion in debt. And you're going to tell me with all that spending around that every American cannot be covered in some sort of healthcare system, that are not paying for it? Holy snap cakes. I say they can. I personally think America could fucking rise up, like all of them, look towards the government and say, give us the same health care that you get for fucking free. May I remind everyone that Trump was fucking cured of the fucking pandemic in 3 days, while other good people fucking died because they couldn't breathe properly? Give me a fucking break. I'm done.
All right. So what I will say is that
sorry, Ken.
There's a lot of mechanics that we don't see that it could very well not be viable, but it could also be viable in certain situations.
Oh, we're talking about healthcare.
Healthcare. No, 100. Just hear me out.
I'm hearing.
Because we're not in government, so we don't see all the other shit that goes on. But here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Canadians clearly don't get the degree of healthcare that you could pay for in the United States regularly, right?
Yeah.
We don't. We just don't. We have to spend 6 months to get cancer treatment. Like we wait 6 months to get cancer treatments. We have to wait 12 hours to see someone in the emergency room. We clearly don't get the same level of care, even though we technically pay for it, but we with our taxes, but it's free, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't see that we pay for it. The point here is, I think there's a better system than than what's in the United States. There's a better system than what's in Canada, and there's a better system than what's in most of the free worlds. What we say is quote unquote free healthcare. I understand that our taxes and stuff pay for it. So the point of this is our taxes, we pay our taxes. We have no control over where our taxes go. Right. What do the top 1% do? They barely pay taxes, right?
Wait a second.
No, stop.
Okay. All right. Go.
You had your 2 minutes.
I'll begin.
The top 1% choose where their money goes by paying charities, right?
Well, there's that. Yeah.
So
most of their own organizations.
Well, regardless if it's honest or not, they choose where their money goes.
Yeah.
Whereas the rest of the public doesn't really have that. We're not afforded that luxury.
No.
Right. So the point here is if you can figure out number one, who is spending your tax money, number two, where your tax money is going, and if they're not spending where you want your tax money to go, vote someone in who is.
That's exactly what happened to McGuinty. And that's exactly what happened to fucking Wynn. Because basically McGuinty came in, he was basically spending on stupid fucking shit. And also Wynn goes, oh, I could do a better job. We gave her a fucking majority. We're going to sell on Terra 1 Hydro because, I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Wynn.
I'm not going to sit here and pound my chest about how the Canadian healthcare system is amazing, because it's really not. It's adequate. It's just it's not.
And the thing is that my honest opinion, that's the key. It works. Does it flaws it? Of course it does. Does it fail in comparison to the UK health system? Oh, fucking night and day, bud. Night and fucking day.
But the point here is I'm not gonna take swings at the American healthcare system because it's different, right? It's different.
I'll take fucking swings at it. I'll take that all day long, because the way I look at it is that you're right. You're absolutely right. And I'm not going to take that away from you. I'm not going to basically blurb all over the place like a fucking idiot. But however, what I am going to say here is that there should be something in place for the people who cannot afford it. Because the number one rule in the US, heaven fucking forbids, never get sick, never get hurt, because as soon as you do, you're fucked. And I personally think that the lower middle class should have some sort of system put into place that they shouldn't have to fucking worry about that. Yes, it might take months. Yes, it might take a while, but at least they get the care that they need eventually. And I think that's very important to build on and to firmly in place. That's the biggest thing that I'm looking at here. And the US does not have that at all, because you have to pay for fucking everything. And the thing, another thing you're right as well is that yes, they do have a better sense of health care system. But the thing is that once you go through that, you're stuck with the medical bills for the rest of your fucking life. That's the unfair part. And I think the thing is that I had a friend of, like, a good example. I have a friend of mine, his name's Mark. Basically, he had a tumor in his head. And the thing is that he found out that the Canadian system was going to go too slow. He got really, really scared, but he had dual citizenship. He took out a lot of money and went down the States and basically got his head operated on. So based on that, I agree with you with that. If you have the money, you could get the cure you're looking for. But I also firmly believe that there should be a system put into place for everyone. And before everyone starts saying, "Oh, that's socialism," no, it's fucking not. We're entrenched in that already as North Americans. Look at our not healthcare. Look at our libraries. Look at our roads. Look at our actual police departments, our fire departments. All of that is paid by the taxpayers. everything. At the same time here, I understand being fiscal responsible. I understand that money doesn't grow on trees. But again, the thing that really fires me up, and I do honestly mean this, and doing what I can to keep calm through all this so I don't Alex Jones myself fucking 7 ways from Sunday, is that $5 trillion, Crumb. $5 trillion went directly in the pockets of the 1%. Everyone got 1.2K to fuck around with, but that was it, man. Like, it basically they say.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you're that. Here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's not. I mean, I don't vote in the U.S., so I have no say. You don't vote in the U.S.
I don't have a say, but I can't.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree that there should be some sort of basic thing.
Yes.
But also, look. Go. How about this? Instead of federally implementing it, go state by state.
I completely agree.
State level decision if they want to do it or not.
I hope they could do that, because the way I look at this election, it truly shows how much power the individual states have.
Well, the individual states, because they're in a union, they retain their original power. Unlike the provinces in Canada, we have to kind of bend federally. However, when you like Gav is saying here, why not have a free healthcare option and the option to go private? I think that would probably be a better option.
I agree with that.
The argument against, because there's pros and cons, obviously. The argument against that would create a 2-class system. Newsflash, we're already in a 2-class system.
Yes, I completely agree with that too. And the thing is, you're absolutely correct. If you have the money, you have the influences, you have no real fucking problems. But the thing is that if you're both, but if both of your feet get fucked up, that really changes things really quickly.
This is what I mean. Like, you could have had your stuff.
Wait a second. What the hell was that?
What are you talking about?
There was some sort of video that was being played.
No, not here. No.
Oh, that's weird.
Maybe on yours.
No. Stupid streamers.
The thing is, it's like I understand there is Medicare in the US. What we're talking about is, like, I can go to a clinic right now and get examined and not pay anything out of pocket.
Yeah.
At all. I can go anytime. Oh, that was probably a JoJo thing.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's probably a JoJo. I have my sound alerts turned on. My sound alerts turned on. It was probably the holy shit one, because I pasted Tom Potter's copy and pasted Tom's thing in there.
Okay.
Sorry, just dox Tom. Sorry, Tom.
Tom's always doxed. Him with his stupid.
He's gonna send the scary kitty after us.
That's right.
So the whole thing is, like, I understand that there is cheap, affordable options in the States for Medicare and things like that. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I'm saying in Canada, okay, this is the difference between US and Canada. If I am diabetic and I have to get insulin every single month, right?
Yeah.
Under our healthcare system, insulin would be like what, $20 a month or something, or like
if that.
Yeah. If we did not have the healthcare system, if we had to pay for it, it'd be somewhere between $600 and $800 a month.
Yeah. And another perfect example, you go to the hospital, you get 2 fucking aspirin, they charge you $700 for it.
So I could go to a clinic right now and get a checkup and sit down and whatever else, and not pay anything out of pocket. It might be $80 or $100 in the United States. I don't know. It could be the affordable ones could be $50. The point is, that's more money than what I'm paying right now. Yeah. Now, the difference is wages, because the wages in the United States are higher on average than Canada. Just looking at the money to money.
No, I don't think you're talking about.
No, they are.
You're talking about conversion.
No, they are. New York, I think. Yes, New York, I think, is sitting at an $18 minimum wage.
Is it
US?
Really? Well, that's amazing.
Which would probably be like $22, $23 for Canadians.
Yeah, no, for sure, Yeah.
Australia has a ridiculously high minimum wage.
Yeah, I heard about this. Yeah,
I think they're sitting at like $20 or $22.
Something like that. I remember seeing a couple of case studies about the McDonald's employees.
When we're talking about that, there's also differences between the countries, right? Taxes are obviously different. Like Florida is different. Like every state's different for taxes. So you're talking about that as well. Those all factor in. If I'm making $2,000 or $3,000 a month, then yeah, $100 here and there to go to the doctor isn't that much money for me. But as I'm standing right now, I'm not making that.
Yeah.
So like I have to like, and my rent is like basically 2/3 of my fucking paycheck, more or less. So it's like when you're talking about that stuff, like you have to take into a bunch of different factors into account. I agree that, we should be spending our tax money differently. I don't necessarily think that we should be taxing people more or less. I think we should be spending our tax dollars more efficiently. That comes down to government.
Yeah.
And in terms of allowing a certain sect of society to just go ahead and,
well, look at Amazon.
Go ahead and just drop like instead of paying $250,000 in taxes a year, they can spend, $250,000. They can spend $400,000 on a charity, of which they get, however much back or whatever else. This is a broken part of the system, and it's built for political parties to take advantage of.
Yeah.
And the problem is when you have loopholes that political parties can take advantage of, other people can take advantage of those loopholes, which then unbalance the system.
Yeah. Look what Trump said. Look what Trump said. He's basically proud he used the actual tax system in his favor. He only paid $750 in taxes. He's claimed bankruptcy 6 different times with the corporations he was heavily affiliated with. Like, and this guy gets cured of the fucking virus within 3 days.
Yeah. I mean, I get what y'all are saying in chat about there's lots of ways to lower healthcare costs. Here's what we have in Canada, right? We make X amount of whatever. We owe, I don't know how much. I'm just gonna ballpark it. Say you make $32,000 a year, right?
Yeah. Let's say for our conversation,
you owe $1,800 in taxes, or however much it is, or whatever. Yeah. So that $1,800 a year is taken out automatically. You never see it, but in turn, you never have to pay for any time you go to the doctor. You never have to pay for a hospital room. You never have to pay for surgery. You never have to pay for anything out of pocket. Because 1 year you might spend $0. 1 year you might spend $50,000.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, it's like I was in the hospital for 3 days. I had major surgery. I had that was covered by my insurance, but still, if I didn't have any of that, that'd be a lot of fucking money. It's like $800 a day to get a hospital room if you don't have insurance.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money that people just don't have. And I understand, like, in America, it might be viable for certain individuals because you guys make more, or it might have healthcare or Medicaid or things like that. We don't see the money coming out of our paychecks from our day to day. So when we look at it, when we say it's free, we understand that there is a cost associated to it. Mm-hmm. But for somebody who has to go to the hospital or spend several months in the hospital, that cost is outweighed because everyone else in the country is picking up the slack for it.
Yeah. Like again, with my foot problems, I have, if I had to pay out of pocket for all this stuff, I'd be bankrupt. It'd just be simple as that. Or my foot would be fucking so infected it disconnect my leg from my knee down.
Like, and yeah, Gippy says you have to pay for the ambulance to call 911. I actually do. I have to do that.
So. Yeah, but the thing is only $40. Yeah, totally. The thing is that they're not going to come after you after that as well. That's the other fun part. It's like, hey, you owe us money. Can you pay us this time? No. Okay, we'll bug you next time.
Critical Blast is in the chat. Hey, Critical Blast.
Hey,
friend of the channel. What's the wait time to get in? Because the urban legend is that the wait time is legendary. Yes, it is. So, for example, I'll use my case as an example. When I had swelling that was Jimmy Markey levels of football chin. When I had that and I was having trouble breathing, if I
a person.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Don't look at me. I'm a monster.
Look at me.
So when I went to the hospital, if I was to walk into the ER, it would have taken me 8 hours just to get in.
Yes.
8 hours just to get in, and that's not even waiting for a hospital bed.
Yeah.
I called 911. I got an ambulance. They took me straight past the waiting room into the ER, and it took me 4 hours to get a bed, which was incredibly fast.
Yeah, and on top of that, again, it depends on your medical emergency. If you can't breathe, which was happening to you, Crumb, they kind
They
of go,
put
"Well,
and the only reason that I got in 4 hours was because of the risk of my breathing, and they put me in intensive care.
Yeah.
If I did not, there was people that were in that ER room. They've been there for 12 hours waiting for hospital beds. 12 hours. So yes, they're very long wait times. And there are ways to get around it, but that's the fact of our healthcare system right now. It's overburdened, and it's largely because you have a lot of people that don't necessarily need that long-term care, or they don't necessarily need to come in for every cut, nick, and scratch, but they do.
Yeah, and the other thing as well, and this is due to credit, at least you get the care you're getting. And
Yes.
depending on how dynamic the situation is, certainly boosts you up the actual wait list and stuff like that. Like as an example, if you're bleeding out all over the place,
I sent it to you on Discord, I think, Ken.
If you're bleeding all over the place and you're having problems, you get pushed up the list really fucking quickly because they don't want you to fucking die at the hospital. And the thing is that they have that to their due credit. But if you're going to go in there because you broke your foot, or the case may be, they'll put you in some painkillers, put you off to the side, but they will treat you eventually, and you won't get a fucking bill for it. That is the biggest thing that I'm looking at here. And the thing is that the way I look at it, time is time. What I mean by that is that people who spend their time working frontline jobs is exactly the same people who spend their time working frontline jobs up there.
I understand a little bit about not everything about the American healthcare system, but our dental system in Canada is very much a microcosm of the U.S. healthcare system, because we don't have the same luxuries for dental care as we do healthcare.
Yeah,
fly, get out of here. We don't have the same luxuries as that. So
does that fly have healthcare?
No, it will soon. You'll need it soon.
We'll ship that in an envelope.
Basically, what it comes down to is my dental procedure. For example, I was charged for the extraction per tooth. I was charged for the anesthetic. If I didn't have insurance, it was going to cost me about $2,000.
Yeah.
It still cost me over $600, which thankfully I really appreciate everyone that assisted me in that GoFundMe. It still cost me over $600 because of the insurance only, and I pay extra for my dental insurance as well. So my dental insurance originally it covers 80%. I pay for it to cover 100%, but it doesn't cover 100%. It covers 100% of what the insurance company deems reasonable.
Yeah.
So they deem reasonable a charge of $250 per tooth to be removed. Now, the surgeon charges $380 or something like that per tooth.
Difference
of like $130.
There you go. Cha-ching.
So that's a lot of money. And then the same thing with the anesthetic. The anesthetic, they deem $350 reasonable, and he charged like $500 or something like that.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I don't have the exact numbers, but it amounted to quite a bit.
The thing is, you're absolutely correct. That is the going rate.
Yeah. So basically, we have a system that doesn't cover, even when your covers 100%, it doesn't cover 100%. So you still have to pay out of pocket.
Yeah.
But go to Mexico for dental. But like ultimately, like the procedure got done, everything was fine. I was great, no pain, everything was fine. But like, I understand the benefits of paying more, because I could have shopped around and got a cheaper deal and probably got insurance to cover the entire thing.
Yeah.
But number one, this guy had been seeing me in the hospital and all of this stuff, and like
knew your case, knew what's going through.
Yeah. And when you pay for quality, you're going to get quality. So I understand the idea in the States of paying for healthcare and how that can be valuable. But there is also that necessity of like, okay, well, if you can't afford it or what have you, are there things in place? Now, the question being at that point, are things in place? That's a question for government. If things aren't in place and that's something that you feel very strongly about, then what is your government doing about it? What is your local government? What is your state government? What's your federal government? For us here in Canada, what's our provincial and federal government doing about it? If it's something you don't care about, then you don't have to vote that way. That's fine. Like bottom line, when it comes down to it, it's like once you get taxed, then you don't have any say of where that money goes. The only say that you have is making sure that you hold that politician accountable for spending your money.
Hold your politicians' feet to the fire. One of the few things that have dramatically changed from the 80s to now, and the thing is, this is not a slanted answer, this is just what's happened over time, is that a lot of people are not making their politicians to work for their vote. Because the biggest paradigm shift that I've seen in my lifetime, it's red versus blue. My team has to win. So I'm going to vote for them. Well, whether you earn your vote, it doesn't matter. My team has to win. And I think that's one of the biggest flaws a lot of Americans have in the U.S. Again, not taking away anyone's credit, because the thing is that, again, there are other parties you could vote for. One of the biggest things that always gets me upset, and I've said this a couple of times, is when you vote for a party and people go, "Oh, you just threw away your vote." No, you didn't. You voted for the person or the party that you thought that lined your values as best as they possibly could. And the thing is that good for you if you voted for the party that you thought that worked. The thing is that your party not got in, but at least you did what you could. And that's the important aspect.
Well, my point behind this, and I know people might not understand this, but we see this in Canada like fucking all the time.
Yeah.
Politicians are like, you know that joke that Chris Rock tells?
Which one's
about Coke and Pepsi?
Oh God, yeah. I hate Coke.
He's just like, he's just like, you talk about Coke or Pepsi, blah blah blah. It's like, but Pepsi paid me last, so I like Pepsi more.
There you go.
The point here is that politicians are literally only like most of them now are campaigning under the best platform that is giving them the greatest chance to win.
Yes.
Right? They don't necessarily care about the party's platform. Look at Aaron O'Toole in Canada.
Oh gosh.
Prime example of someone who is probably center left running for successfully taking the quote unquote left leadership of the Conservative Party when he's more probably closer to NDP liberal.
Yeah.
And he's the leader of the Conservative Party. He did it because that is his best chance to win, right?
Yeah.
And so now he's going in a direction where he's trying to change the party's direction to get them back in a seat of power.
So hold on, Derek Rubb. So let me get this straight. Somebody took an interest. Somebody put their money where their mouth is. Somebody basically got not into a party, but running the fucking joint.
Yeah.
How incredibly odd.
So and I'll say this like on record.
Yeah.
Because like traditionally I've voted Liberal a couple times. I've voted NP a couple times. This may be the first Conservative person that I actually support, because Aaron O'Toole is, from what I've heard him say, and if he actually follows through with it, he's very close to my political leanings in terms of his vision. Regardless, I don't care that he's a leader of a Conservative Party. I don't care. I care about the people behind them. I don't like Trudeau doesn't fall under my visions of whatever else, my political stuff. Looking at all this stuff, vote for the people, don't vote for the party, because we've seen it here in Canada happen a million fucking times, right? How many hats did Bob Rae hold?
Oh God.
How many times did he switch parties?
Oh,
How many
at
times
least a couple.
how many times have other people walked the floor or been bought out by a political party or what have you? It happens all the time. In my opinion, all politicians are bad.
Oh, definitely.
Forget all cops are bad. All politicians are bad because they're just using you to get into power, and then they get to do whatever the fuck they want while they're there.
If, and this is where I start chiming in a little bit, I couldn't give a fuck who's in power. A minority government is a better government than a majority one. And if people could remember this, this is very key, very important, because the thing is, with Trudeau, nice looking man, nice head of hair, growing that Star Trek beard now.
Beard.
Exactly. But super long story short, give him a majority government, and the thing is, he'll go completely left with it. But give him a minority government, he has to work. Exactly. He has to. And that's the biggest problem that a lot of Canadians don't quite see, because again, they get swept up in the cult of personality. And that is something
we much like Americans get swept up in the identity politics of like my team versus your team. My team is better. My team is more blue than yours, so therefore it is better color. It's so dumb. It operates on the basic instinct of human nature, and it's wrong. It's wrong.
I agree.
If you constantly vote blue or red or green or orange or purple or whatever, just because that's what you've always done, you're not actually paying attention to anything that's going on around you, and then you're surprised Pikachu when shit goes sideways.
And the thing is that in today's time, it's not just important, it's super duper important to pay attention towards this stuff. Like, my honest opinion, I'm surprised fucking Doug Ford got voted in with the majority he did without a fucking platform. And the thing is, it comes down perfectly to what you're saying, which is sort of like, I have to vote conservatives because I fucking hate when. It's like, mistake was given, mistakes were made.
And like, the thing is like, lessons can be learned here, but don't act like we don't know how we got here.
Yeah.
Right? Like, don't act like we don't understand how we got here. We fucking voted for it. Yeah. We put it in power. We decided this is okay.
And we were doing this for over 40 plus fucking years. Not 20, not 10, not 5, but 40.
Yeah.
Plus Disney Plus. Watch Mandalorian. But long story short, it's really important to keep an eye on the political ball. It's really important for people just not to engage, but to get involved with your local politics. If you don't like a politician because they are treating you like crap, put your money where your mouth is. At the very least, vote them out. And at the same time, make sure you're voting for the right person and party that you feel that would benefit you moving forward with that. Very, very important.
It's okay that we make mistakes.
Yes.
Right? Because we make mistakes. We vote in the wrong person from time to time. Shit happens. It's a thing that happens. I get it. But we can correct those mistakes because the public has a lot more power than the government would like to admit.
Yeah.
That's why they campaign to us all the time and they ask us for money. Who's paying their fucking bills? Who's paying their campaigns? Who's paying their fucking buses and conventions and their dinners?
And all their plate dinners, yeah.
Who's paying for all of that? They're not paying for it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be critical here for Trump for a minute. And we're going to lose everybody on this.
Oh, God.
I'll be critical of Trump for a minute. Who funded his lawsuits?
Mm-hmm.
Who did he beg and plead for money to start suing left and right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't pay it out of his own pocket.
Nope.
Rudy Giuliani didn't pay himself.
Nope.
They begged for a campaign fund.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, here's the thing, folks. You hold the power, you hold the keys, and they're asking you for the power. So when it comes down to who's making decisions and all this other stuff, it's a symbiotic relationship. Hello, Average Joe. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome. So, yeah,
Joe?
people should not be afraid of the government. Government should be afraid of the people because the people have the power. The people have the power over it. So, and this is one thing that I'm going to go all 1984 over. We're slowly handing over our rights and our liberties to the government. And we have been doing it for the past 50 plus years.
Well, and I'd like to add just a little bit more to that as well. It's just not towards the government. It's towards other things as well. And the thing is that it's shockingly surprising when people start taking back their power of empowerment and realizing that, no, I don't have to work a shitty minimum wage job. I could be better. I could do more. I could do what I want to do. Like as we mentioned before in another broadcast, the thing is, again, always keep moving forward towards what you want to do. Just keep moving forward in an aspect. The thing is,
I'll pause you for a second because James Andrew Morrison's bringing up something because he's not suing as Donald Trump. He's suing as president of the United States for people to have a fair election. If it is not, this is straight out of Trump's playbook. What I'm about to say here, this is 100% out of Trump's playbook from what I have to say right now. Mm-hmm. If it is not worth putting your own name behind it, then don't do it. So if Donald Trump does not think it is worth putting his own name and his own money behind a lawsuit, why is he wasting your money to do it?
Yeah.
I understand it's like under the whole president of the United States thing, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. There are private members, there are private citizens who have filed lawsuits against their own courts and they're winning. They put their own fucking money behind it. They put their own money where their mouth is. Trump is asking for your money. Why didn't he put his? If it's that important, why didn't he put his own money in front?
I could tell you that because he only paid $750 in taxes. He's poor. He hasn't made any money since he's been president. He's been not accepting a paycheck.
So, like that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this being critical of Trump because he's done a lot of good things, he's done a lot of bad things. But as a leader, as someone who is in charge, as someone who is supposed to lead by example, if that is important to you and you want to make a statement, and this is something that Trump knows all too well, because he could just go ahead and just do it and then file another bankruptcy. Why doesn't he put his own money up? Why is he taking the money from other people to do it?
Especially from the people. And just imagine putting that money into some sort of healthcare system.
So that's what I have to say about that. People can make a million excuses as to why. This is, and it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that he absolutely did it to signal other people to do it, but he wasn't willing to put his own money up for it.
And the fun thing is that something just realizing from what we've just been told, this is supposed to be for a fair election. Okay, sweetie, not you.
Well, we haven't had a fair election in fucking 100 years.
Well, here's my gravitas, or what I want to say behind that. He's been in power for 3.5 years. Do you think during that time period he could have took up a hobby, look at all the voting machines, look at the system, and really streamline the fuck out of it and really make it work? He didn't.
Okay, guys, I understand that you're saying we don't know if he put money. Giuliani literally fucking asked people to donate to the fund.
Yes.
So please spare me this fucking galaxy brain nonsense of and mental gymnastics. I get it. It's frustrating. I understand. But here is the fact of the matter. As a leader, the buck stops with you. You have to, as a person who is following these individuals, as a person who is voting these people in, I do it the same to my politicians as well. I'll do it to Doug Ford. I'll do it to Justin Trudeau. I don't care who the fuck is in. If they are fucking up, If they are doing something fucking stupid, I will call it out. Because here's the fact of the matter. Trump is the apex. He is the president. Does he need to go out?
Man
Does he need to go out and say, okay, we need money to go and do this? If it's not important for him to foot the bill and he's asking for campaign fundraisers to do it for him, how important is it? I don't care if he paid everything but $1. As a leader, that's your fucking responsibility.
Something like to add here. This is kind of important, not to take away from the floor. What has Trump sacrificed for this? Because I'll fucking tell you all.
This is not just about Trump. This is about every fucking person in power in a leadership role that is taking advantage and trying to play games.
Yes, and the thing is, as I was going to say, both Crumb and I sacrificed a lot for this year's Comic-Con. So let's just circle that. Put a button on that just for a second. Has Trump sold any of his assets for this particular lawsuits? Has he drained his own bank account and his own assets along the way to get this?
Well, I'm not going to compare us to that, but...
Well, the thing is that I think you know what I mean. And the bottom line is that he hasn't. Why hasn't he? Why is he going up to American people saying, "Oh, pay for my lawsuit. Please go fund my GoFundMe campaign"?
I know people are saying, "Oh, you keep saying that," but why is he asking for money then?
Exactly. He has money. He's Donald fucking Trump. How many towers he fucking has? He sold any of them? Has he burned through his own assets to keep his own job? Don't be suckered in.
Like this is what I'm saying, guys. Stop drinking the fucking Kool-Aid. It's not just about Trump. This is about Biden. It's about Hillary. It's about anybody that you want to fucking name as a politician. They're all the fucking same.
Yeah, unfortunately, they are.
It's all about that.
Yeah, and sometimes they're worse. Yeah, like everyone thought that Joe Biden was a great mindless grandpa. But one of the few things they really didn't look into is Joe Biden's 40 plus years in the political system.
Like, I'm critical about every fucking person in that election. I am not pro or against Trump. It has no effect on my life. So I don't care one way or the other.
Yeah.
And I understand there's a lot of people out there that are really, really frustrated that he lost.
Yeah. And the thing is that it's to be expected. But
or allegedly lost.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And the thing is that time keeps moving on.
But here's the thing, James Andrew Morrison. If it's the people's lawsuit, then why isn't Trump, as an American citizen, paying for it himself? And why are other private citizens filing lawsuits if this is the people's lawsuit?
Or better yet, partially paying for it. Why is he putting all the burden on the general public?
Well, it doesn't even matter. If I don't care if he's paying for 99% of it. If he's still taking donations for 1% of it, that's fucking wrong.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Did you hear that Joe Biden's also trying to get money for?
Well, yeah, he's a fucking idiot too.
Yeah, he's for something that's stupid. I can't remember what the fuck it is.
They're campaigning and they're trying to get donations for God knows the fuck.
Yeah. When I heard that, I kind of went, "What?" Just incredible. Just incredible. I don't know.
You're missing the point, Little Rocks. You're missing the point.
What's Little Rocks?
Giuliani. I'm not saying he didn't put any money into it. I don't know. Nobody knows, and no one's ever going to know. That's the point. Giuliani asked for people to donate to the law fund. That's all you need to know. Why are you begging for money when this is allegedly something that's important enough for you to put forward on behalf of people who more than half of the country didn't ask for it?
And just to stir the pot just a little bit more, $5 trillion, kids.
And and like I've said throughout this entire broadcast, all politicians are bad. I don't think any politicians should get donations. I don't think that there should be donations allowed. If you cannot campaign on your own merits, you shouldn't be allowed. Period. You shouldn't be allowed to buy an election.
And here comes the funny part. When the election's over and all the bills have been paid for, where does the extra money go to? Does it go to the Unicorn and Rainbow Fund? No, it does not. It goes directly into the pocket of the candidate.
So like, this is what I'm saying. It's like, I get that people are upset. I get it.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of elections that I did not agree with either in our country, both locally, federally, provincially, plenty. But you know what? The world still turns. The fact of the matter is that there are people out there that are taking money that they didn't deserve. They're taking money from the public to do things that the public are asking them, and they aren't doing the things that the public are asking them to do.
Yeah.
In the real world, if you went to a job and you got paid to do a job and you didn't do that job, guess what happens? One of two things. Either you get fired or you get sued. That doesn't happen in politics. The only place in the fucking world it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The only place in the world it doesn't happen. And it also, literally, you don't see anywhere else in the world where you go and beg for fucking money to pay for something that you, like a lawsuit, for example. Did you see Vic go out and ask people to pay for his lawsuit? No. In fact, you saw the opposite. You saw people insist. You didn't see people campaign. You didn't see him campaign and beg for money to pay for a lawsuit.
No, that's
not how it works.
And remember, it's Nick that went to Vic and said, "Hey, lawsuits are expensive. Let me help you." That's exactly what took place. And the thing is that just for a quick New York second,
I'm very sorry to hear that, Paralegal X. I'm so sorry for
what happened
for your loss.
What?
Cousin in Canada passed from cancer. They deemed her too old for certain forms of care and procedure.
Oh,
that's absolutely terrible.
Yeah, that's horrible.
That's terrible.
Whew. Sort of hard.
So, again, I am very critical of politicians because they are operating on the good faith of regular people, regular Joes.
Yeah.
And I have no problem taking swipes at them, regardless of their political party affiliation, if they are taking advantage of people, which I think we are in this situation. I think we're being taken advantage of to the point where we're handing our civil liberties over to people for nothing, for literally nothing. And they are not upholding their end of the contract.
Yeah. Like it's kind of funny. Something to the McGinty experiment that I found out is that a politician can make all of the promises on the planet, sign all of the real court proceeding contracts of promises that they promise to keep when they get in the power. And when they get in the power, there's a law that says they don't have to fulfill their campaign promises.
Yeah.
They don't have to. When I heard that, I was so angry for a few weeks. It was just, wow.
Well, and guess who passed that law?
Who's that?
The fucking politicians who have to abide by them.
Exactly. Isn't it amazing that sometimes these politicians are all lawyers at the same time? Isn't that just a little bit odd? Look at the Clintons. They're both fucking lawyers. They know this.
And look what Nick says. Like, lawyers are terrible people. So
exactly. How often does Nick say that?
The lawyer becomes
the time.
The lawyer becomes a politician. What does that make them?
Exactly. And that's just
what I'm saying. It's like we have to be critical of people, and just because they support or they pretend to support our political views, which a lot of politicians don't. I will say that a lot of politicians don't. We have to be very critical of them. We have a special guest.
Who do we have?
Is this Robot Ken or regular Ken?
I think it's regular Ken. I know the illustration.
We have a boomerang Ken.
Is this Ken? Hello?
Well, while Ken figures out his devices,
his potato, just make sure it's plugged in properly.
James Andrew Morrison says, "I don't take offense. I agree. To be frank, the last 2 elections were a joke. Out of all the great people, they chose Hillary, Biden, and Trump. What the hell is all that about? It's politics.
Yep.
They don't want things to change. They want things to stay the way they are. Now, Trump getting in was actually a very good thing for change because he's a fucking firecracker.
Bull in a China shop.
He is a bull in a China shop. He is the guy who will literally throw a fucking hand grenade into a fucking China shop.
Yes. And they go, I did not make the hand grenade.
I think
it didn't come from me.
Personally, I think it would be better for the U.S. for Trump to lose because then it will fire him up to. Okay, you lost Ken already. It will fire him up to force changes in the U.S. elections that needed to be changed for 50 years.
Yeah,
I think that was the catalyst. I think that is the catalyst that the U.S. needs for things to get cleaned the fuck up.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like I'm not sitting here like, oh my God, thank God Trump got voted out. No, I think it's a better thing for the U.S. that Trump got voted out because it's motivating him to change the system that is clearly broken and needs a change.
Yeah, it's too bad he couldn't do this through his time administration. But my honest opinion, I again, not.
Well, I'm critical of Trudeau for the exact same fucking thing. Look what happened. Trudeau said, we're going to change the electoral system because it's a broken system, blah, 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 blah. He campaigned on that. He's like, yeah, we're going to change it. This is a broken system. This isn't working, blah, 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 blah. What does he do when he gets in?
Wait a second. I just won.
It worked out for us.
The system's working.
We're going to keep it the way it is.
Yeah.
And for that, I think that earned him a minority government the second time. Rightly so.
Honestly, among other things.
Oh. Now we have Ken.
I think.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes. Hey, buddy. How are you?
Good. Sorry, my computer likes to mute all my outputs whenever I don't use my microphone for a while. So that was part of the problem.
Well, I'm glad you figured it out and you're on the show today. So how are you?
I'm okay. Not feeling the best, but figured I'd take a few minutes out of my day to jump on here and
awesome
and fuel some rage in Mr. Hop over here.
Perfect.
We appreciate you jumping on. Thank you so much for joining.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me back.
Oh, always.
So what were you guys talking about while I was fixing my audio issues?
Oh, just making fun of you. I mean, talking about politics. Yeah. It's always fun doing a little bit of digging, but we all do it in love and jest. But however, we're talking about politicians. When they get in the office, they don't hold their promises. We're talking about maybe Trump losing this election might be the best thing for the United States public as a whole because this might fire him up to actually change the system. And
Trump was changing the system regardless of whether people liked it or not. The system was changing a bit under Trump compared to what would have been under a Hillary presidency.
I would agree with that.
It was. I think what I'll round off the point to that was that there's only so much that he could do as president, and a lot of it would be lost under partisan nonsense because the media, etc., would be just kicking it under the rug. I think he could do more as a private citizen. Well, I don't know if he stays president forever, if they consider them presidents forever, because he still gets all that stuff. Like, I don't know how that works, but he can do more as not sitting in office, Trump, as he can be under the regulations and restrictions of being under sitting office, Trump, in my opinion. I think it's going to fire him up.
I think it's 50-50.
I think it's going to fire him up to make a lot of changes and rally a lot of people to force changes across the country.
So on that too, also back on the first thing Mr. Hop mentioned, the politicians being held to what they say. At least in free speech land, unlike Canada, you can't...
Hey!
Listen, you don't have free speech, admit to it. So in free speech land...
We got freedom of expression. And I like to express myself.
You can express yourself up to a certain point where then it's against the state's willing. So in
it's the provinces. We don't have
in
states
in the United States, it would be unconstitutional to have a law that would hold a politician to their campaign promises, because that would be forced speech expression. Because it would be forced expression or forced speech to force them to hold to their promises. It's been, I believe, pursued in the past in some form or fashion at least once. I don't remember the litigation or anything of it, but from my recollection and my understanding is it would be considered forced speech to have a politician held up like that.
Well, that's interesting, because if I come up to you and say, "Hey, if you do this for me, as vote for me, I promise to do this for you." But the thing is that now we're getting involved in the verbal contract, and I believe that could be taken to court law.
Nah, it doesn't. It doesn't work under that premise. The whole politics realm works under a whole different thing. Now, do I think that...
I can totally see that. Because again, this said before in our broadcast today, it's the exact same thing with politicians getting voted in positions of power here too. You can sign all the contracts, you can make all the promises, you can have it directly on tape or digital quality DVD. But the bottom line is, when they get into power, they're not obligated to go through with those promises.
And there would be, I think, a lot of other issues, moral and ethical issues anyway, to try and force someone into holding up. Because what if someone's political opinion changes from the day they're elected to the day they take office? Or what if...
That is true. But if I want 2 chickens in every pot, I want fucking 2 chickens in every pot.
Sometimes, as much as it would be for a lot of people interesting, I think it would be a dangerous precedent to set. I think it would be very concerning for America, because one, if you were going to be forced to be held to those beliefs and to your statements on the campaign trail, then suddenly not many people are going to want to run for office, because anything they utter on the campaign trail is now having to be forced into legislation or law. And how long does it take? I mean, do you have do you have 90 days to put the law into effect? Do you have a year? Do you have 2 years? How fast of a time frame is it? Do they have to show just minor intention? Do they actually have to follow completely through with it? What if, for example, if a president runs on something, in America, if the Senate or the House don't vote it in, is that considered not following through with your campaign promises? I mean, there's a lot of nuances to it.
I see that position that you're leading towards, and the thing is that from the majority of I do agree with it, especially when it comes to the House and the Senate. But one of the few things I would like to say is that still holding your political parties' leaders' feet to the fire, I think that's very, very important, because again, if someone walks up and says, I think you should do that, I'm going to do this for you, and they go, sure, you're awesome, I'll vote for you, no problem. And you get in the power, it's like, well, I'm just going to change my mind on all of this, and I don't have to work for your vote anymore, and you can take a long walk off a short pier. And I personally think that person should be tarred and feathered and thrown in the fucking street and defend themselves from the giant New York rats of stupidness.
Well, I mean, look, you had Obama get elected in his first term on he doesn't support gay marriage, but after Oberg fell, he suddenly is now supportive of gay marriage. So do you sue him and get him convicted or whatever because he now supports gay marriage?
The funny thing in that aspect, which we just covered as well, a politician does not have to keep the campaign promises, but however, holding their feet to the fire definitely does, and at the same time making sure they're working for your vote definitely holds into that.
Well, it's a question of how enforceable it would be.
Well, the thing is that the enforceable aspect is that I don't vote. I don't vote for your party. Yeah.
There are political methods to have challenges to authority, right? In the U.S., there's the impeachment. In Canada, at least for the minority governments, there's non-confidence votes. Yeah. Those are pretty much the only political checks that are in place in the system for when someone's doing something so grievously bad that the system just can't work anymore and it needs to be reset. Yeah. I mean, we've seen that in Canada. We've had a couple non-confidence votes in I think 2 or 3 in 15 years. Yeah. Where they've dissolved parliament. We've had to re-elect, and very, 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 very few impeachments that actually went full range in the U.S. But those things do happen. I don't know if there's a way to reset the House or whatever in the U.S. I think it's just the presidency, isn't there?
Well, that's the funny part. Sorry, just be very, very quick here, Ken. As far as I could tell, when a president is impeached and the party starts looking at their party leader, which is Trump in this aspect, and say, well, we're going to replace you, and thus take it from there.
They don't have to, though.
Yeah, this is the funny part. For the very first time, that never happened. They kept moving forward with it. Because basically what it used to be like back in the 80s or whenever the last time someone got impeached. Now, that's the funny part. We've never been part of the full aspect of an impeachment. What I mean by that is that Nixon quit before he got impeached. Basically,
Clinton went through a full impeachment.
But the thing is that was the end. Wait a second. That was the end of his presidency.
No, the end of his term.
Yeah, exactly. So it didn't matter. He did his 8 years. So the thing is that, again, the ramification behind that wouldn't have mattered. So I don't know. Am I missing the other presidents?
I mean, it did have a ramification. Look at what happened immediately following Bill Clinton's impeachment. The House went blue for, 3 or 4 elections, and for House elections. It went blue for a long time because of the fallout from the Clinton impeachment, because he was impeached on very weak grounds, just like what happened with Trump's impeachment. He was impeached on very weak grounds in many cases. So what happens? The House is turning red. It's very close to flipping red, depending on, it could theoretically flip red, I think, if certain things happen.
Yeah, I did what's her name get voted back in again?
Pelosi,
yeah, I think she did. Because there was a few candidates.
Pelosi was reelected. She'll probably end up being reelected speaker once the new House comes in January.
Yeah,
which is sad because she shouldn't be speaker anymore.
I completely agree. No, I completely agree with you with that. And at the same time here, I hear that it's like 50-50 so far, but I really don't know that.
They're very, very
close. What?
They're the split
the House?
for the House. Yeah.
So one thing I see.
I know the Republicans picked up a lot of ground in the House.
Oh, the Republicans picked up a hell of a lot of ground in the House. And there was supposed to be this blue wave, and it did not happen. And even though the Democrats still won, the blue wave line does not have as much effect. And another thing I see happening, and it's starting to creep in more and more, is the way people will refer to the Senate as 1% of the population has 10% of the representation in the Senate, when they don't understand, or they're purposely misstating that the Senate is supposed to only be representatives of the states and not the people. The population representation is in the House solely. The Senate was always, and there's actually one part of the Constitution that is very specific in that there's whether or not a constitutional amendment could or could not impact it is whether or not you can deprive any state of equal representation in the Senate.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting clause that's held. So you couldn't say reduce the senators for a lower population state and increase them, because it would deny the equal representation. You may need a constitutional amendment, and it's questionable whether or not, because you need the consent of every state that would be deprived or have their representation changed. And you're not going to get that ever. No state's going to say, I want to willingly lower my senator count. That's never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
Yeah. I like to take steps backwards. No.
No. Well, back on the speech thing too, as I was mentioning to someone in chat, the human rights tribunals that go on in Canada, those are so scary to look at, because they're 2 steps away from full-on thought police and being extorted further than they already are. I mean, look at the Yanev shit. Yanev has abused them to death, and even though he or she, however you want to gender her or him, ends up losing, there is still the financial impact on the person who's being brought to the tribunal. My understanding is they're not given the same kind of funding and representation as the person bringing the claim at the tribunal. So there's that. So, I mean, if you bring that to, the enforcement of speech on things in America, none of that would be constitutional. That would all be overruled immediately. It could not stand.
Yeah, it's a lot of nonsense here in Canada, very much like UK law. There's a lot of loopholes and shit that you can get away with, and just force people to spend money. I'm pretty sure we have a baked-in anti-slap in our courts now. I don't know when that came in, but it's pretty much an anti-slap. But I don't think that applies for the human rights tribunals. I think that gets it's taken a bit differently. But yeah, there is not a funding. There is not proper ways to, and you see it all the time, right? You see, and there's a lot of groups that abuse it. A lot of minority groups that abuse it for X, Y, and Z reasons.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's frustrating because this is a system that clearly has been broken for many, many years, and that just it keeps chugging along because people just let it.
Oh yeah, I agree. And I see a lot of people argue that we should have enforcement of different speech principles like they do in Canada or they do in the UK, and it's scary. It fucking scares me.
It's a slippery slope either way. Like,
and it's not the actual fallacy; it's the actual slippery slope.
It is a literal slippery slope.
You can point to so many cases in Canada. You can point to so many cases in the UK. I mean, look at Count Dankula. That was disgusting. They drug him through court for 2 years to give him an £800 fine. How much money do you think was spent on his legal defense? How much out of pocket? His life was ruined by the media.
Question. Regarding to that particular case, what happened at the end of it? Because he said, "No, I'm not going to pay this £800 bullshit."
So I followed Count Dankula very closely, and I'm still a big follow. Yeah, Count Dankula is funny as shit.
No, I agree.
Follow Count Dankula.
Yes.
So at the end, so in the court, they, ruled against him and gave him an £800 fine. He could have faced up to a year in jail.
Yeah.
He was going to refuse to pay the fine. He was not going to allow. He was going to make them, perp walk him downtown for the media and all. They ended up going into his bank account and taking out the £800. And he wasn't like, yep. They went in and took the money out. He didn't consent to it. They just went in and did it, and he wasn't able to undo it. He tried to undo it, if I remember correctly. Apparently, in the UK, it is, because they didn't want to deal with the show of him going to jail because they knew what would have happened once the media hit and it blew up about what happened, and everyone in realistic parts of the world went, well, that's fucking stupid. You shouldn't be arresting him over that. It's funny, and
it may be bad taste. It may be not funny to some people, but at the same time here, it's like, it's a pug.
It's in bad taste to some people, yes, but it's not worthy of being imprisoned for up to a year.
It's just a fucking joke.
Yeah,
yes.
That's all it is. Like, it's the same thing that we were talking about to start the fucking show with the Animaniacs and the Johnny 2 telling lies poster.
That was written 2 years ago. That was written 2 years ago.
Like, is it bad taste? Sure. Who cares? Is it killing anybody? Probably not.
Yeah. You don't know that.
It's true. So
they could be killing them.
But I think we could safely assume that it's not.
Well, that's dangerous because that's how
you make that assumption. You make that assumption. See what happens.
Well, I just made that assumption. I'm waiting.
You're gonna see what happens now. You're gonna fucking see what happens.
Oh, good. I'll be waiting for it with bated breath.
That's how we get Skynet, Mr. Hop.
You're fucked now.
Oh, wait a minute. Sky doesn't exist anymore because we're outside the Terminator 2 timeline. So fuck that noise.
You're fucked now.
Yeah, but on the Count Dankula thing, as James in the chat was pointing out, he tried to appeal it to he appealed it to the highest court in the UK. They said no. He tried to appeal. I think he started the process to appeal it to the human rights court in the UK or in the EU, but it would have cost like £500,000 or something just to do that. And they were probably going to say no too, over literally a joke. I mean, there was that guy in Canada who was fined 15,000 Canadian dollars or whatever over telling a joke about a crippled kid. Like,
oh yeah. That
guy, like, how is that okay?
Wait a second. There's a little bit more behind that. Basically, his fans start going after the parents as well.
That's not his fault.
I know it's not his fault. I know it's not his fault. But I'm just letting you know the more what's I'm looking for here. the more sympathetic aspect behind it, because as Canadians we kind of go, well, that kind of sucks. Well, this is your fault because you started all this noise. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, but still, that's
it's
how do you hold him criminally liable? Well, how is he criminally liable? That's the thing.
I'm gonna throw my stupid hat on because he started the joke in the first place. He should have made fun of crippled people. That's the
look. It's not my fault. He can't get up a set of stairs. That's not my fault, and that shouldn't be the fault of the government.
But the thing is that it's your fault if you make a joke about it. There, Ken, you should know about that.
I can do that where I live because I have freedom.
I
have freedom. I have freedom. You've seen my racist tweets allegedly on Twitter with my new Jeopardy hosting. Listen, I was drunk. Someone took control of my Twitter. I don't know what real Ken Jennings has allegedly claimed to happen there. Exactly. But my claim is I was drunk. Someone took control of my Twitter, and it was hackers. That's all I got.
Exactly. Like basically
history. So.
The password to your Twitter was written on a washroom wall. These things happen. So it's all great.
I forgot to capitalize password and password 12345. Fuck me.
Exactly.
There's the one password I forgot to change.
Damn it all.
Goddamn.
But yeah. So the thing is, yeah, you are correct. It's not freedom of speech. It's not even freedom of expression. And the thing is that, again, this is a pure. I think that when cases like this happen, someone's sending out a message. And I think in that particular case, like, don't make fun of the crippled kids. Or this could happen to you too. It's like, whoa, okay. Because, if you see your friend being set on fire, I'm pretty sure you're not going to make jokes what they just finished making fun of, which I personally find to be very, very unfortunate.
It's the tired old fucking argument, and this goes back to the PC thing that we were talking from the 90s, where fucking censors and single soccer moms were trying to make the case that video game violence and blah 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 blah. Yeah. There is no correlation between someone playing Pokemon and going out and forcing squirrels to fight each other with fucking knives. Like that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen.
I enslaved a lot of animals after the Pokemon movie came out. Okay. I enslaved a lot of things after the Pokemon movie came out, and some of them may have been humanoid because they were humanoid in the game. I mean, I made one of my friends who may or may not have looked like what the hell was it?
People in little
Snorlax. One of my friends who looked like Snorlax may or may not have been enslaved for a short period of time in school until I was suspended. But that's a whole story to not go into.
I mean, we didn't have a rash of children pelting animals with tennis balls until they were in submission. Like that.
You guys use tennis balls? We use steel balls. Giant fucking ball bearing balls. Like,
I choose you. Red mist.
How do you expect to get it inside the ball? It's got to be small enough to fit.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to liquefy it first. That's how you get it inside the ball. You got to liquefy the Pokemon. How do you think they fit in the ball in the movies and the games and shit?
It's magic.
No, it's liquid.
It's liquid.
It's liquid. One of the states of matter.
Oh my god. That's what the YouTubers are trying to do with the Johnny Depp lawsuit. It's just to liquefy that dead horse.
He's beyond liquefied at this point. You can't even. It's like
ice cube trays.
No. I don't know where ice cube trays came from, but
I don't know, just brought it up.
It's like it's like that type of medicine that's where it's effectively one atom of the molecule in the actual medication, quote unquote. I cannot remember the name of it. James Randi used to go hard against that shit for. No, it's a
NyQuil?
It's a specific quote unquote type of hold on, let me look it up. I'm fucking feeling
You got the computer, right?
Yeah, it's right in front of me, and I got my.
Only there was a device. Only there was a device that we could check out an infinite knowledge of the database.
Dude, I love having a computer because it's like growing up, I had a computer starting at like age 9 or 10, and the shit I did on the computer and the rain I had on the computer was probably not the smartest idea for my parents. I'll go ahead and give them animals. It was a bad idea. It was a really bad idea. But I did learn a lot of things. Not everything should have been learned at that age. But
Learn what
Thank
the
God
inside
I knew
of
how to
Philippine
delete.
do.
I knew how to delete. Yeah, those are cool. You get head first in videos and all that shit on YouTube now. I'd say it's a lot easier to find versus when I was doing it. You had to like go on the back FTP servers and shit and download it, and took forever.
There's no hashtags back in the day.
Yeah, God, I hate hashtags. I had a guy in my office. I had a guy in my office when I was in the military who would like something would happen. And he would go like hashtag something or whatever. And it was annoying as shit, man, dude. I wanted to choke the guy. He worked in the office next to me, but it was like a cubicle. So it was like he would say this shit all the time. And it drove me up the fucking wall.
You should have told him. You should have told him he does that one more time, he'll be hashtag missing in action.
Oh, with the mission we did, we could have, if I had gone on one of those deployments, I would have thrown him out of the plane. But
what happened to Jimmy? No idea.
It would have been worth it. It would have been worth it. That's all I can say.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Did you find a thingy?
God damn it! No, I know where my thingy is, but I'm trying to find this thing that you told me earlier. Motherfucker. Let's try. Homeopathic. That's the word I was looking for. God.
All right.
Homeopathic. Thank you, whoever. I wasn't reading chat because I was Googling, so thank you, Naughty and James, for helping me there.
The chats are the best here. So homeopathic. What again?
So homeopathy is basically, like the less equals more kind of thing.
Okay.
And so effectively they take like a drop. It's effectively if you were to take like a medication, say like a Tylenol, and the equivalent dosage in like the medication you buy is less than 1 atom in an Olympic-sized swimming pool, if I remember correctly.
I see. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
It's basically diluted so much that there's less than 1 atom in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. That's how diluted it is.
Okay. So how does this relate to capturing Pokemon characters with steel balls?
Well, it was liquefying, so the amount of liquid. So you had to make them smaller, so the lesser amount, and it somehow comes into that.
So basically, homeopathic stuff leads towards capturing better Pokemon creatures. Gotcha. Cool. True. Glad we got that all figured out, Ken.
That's true.
Yeah, that's how we capture Pokemon, and at least where I grew up.
That's awesome. And where'd you grow up again?
Classified.
Awesome.
Northeast somewhere.
Northeast somewhere. Obviously Texas, because Texas is pretty big.
That's not in. Where the fuck are you going? I don't know. It's nowhere near the Northeast.
I don't know anymore.
Do you not know anything about the states, my guy?
I do, my friend. I do. Kind of, sort of, maybe. Not
okay,
really.
Texas. Kind of. Texas is in the bottom. Think of like gay people. Texas is one of the bottom.
What? The very bottom of the bottom. Are you being sexist, you bitch?
No. The one type of gay people's on the bottom. There's a few other states on top of it. If you look at it,
like on a map.
There's a lot of states on top.
There's a lot of states around and on top of it. So it's like this gay gangbang against Texas, but Texas is its own thing. So it stands up for itself. So it's kind of like versatile.
It's also really, really big too. So
18 naked cowboys.
Yeah.
That's not where we did Ram Ranch when I did it, but it was in a different state.
Awesome. Is New York on top of Texas? Yes, it is, isn't it?
Okay.
Way the hell out of there.
Yeah.
It's like if you stack another gay person on top of another gay person, we're like 8 gay people stacked, then you have New York. And you're also going on an angle. Do you need a map? Because we can pull up a map for you on this internet thingy.
It's they have that on the internet? It's amazing.
Yes, we do have the internet in the States.
That's awesome. When did you guys get that?
When did we get the internet? Well, we invented the internet. So
did
we
you?
invented the internet. Yes.
How long ago?
The ARPANET was invented in the 50s. We were the inventors of the internet. It was a military purpose. It was for military purposes and advanced to civilian uses. And then over time, it became more and more widespread. It wasn't, that's when you had like the old bulletin board systems.
Yes.
And it wasn't until like the 90s when what was it? Tim Berners-Lee created the World Wide Web that we know today, like with the internet browser and links and shit.
So did
Before
you say
then,
Tim Burton designed the internet? Is that what
Tim
you said?
Berners-Lee created the World Wide Web.
So not Tim Burton.
No, that's a totally different person.
Gotcha.
Yes,
Okay, I'm on board.
That's a totally different person. Yeah, but it is. The internet has changed so much. I've watched the internet change. My first foray with the internet was back in, I think, what was it? I was like 7, and it was web TV. Yeah, web TV. It was like a box, and it had a wireless keyboard, and it was literally like basically a browser, and you just were able to log into like AOL or Yahoo at the time and search the web. Nothing else, just the internet. That was my first foray. Yahoo was the shit in the day, man.
Oh yeah.
I'm old enough to remember getting a beta invite to Gmail. I had a beta invite to Gmail.
Yeah, same here. I also got a beta invite towards Facebook as well.
I begged, borrowed, and stole to get my Gmail beta invite. It was awesome. Jeez. I was proud of that. I don't know why, but I was proud of that.
And I have to ask you, Ken.
Remember Rocket Mail?
No,
God, you don't remember
Rocket Mail. Yeah, I think I do. I don't think I used it, but I think I remember it.
Hotmail was.
I remember Hotmail.
Yeah.
That was the cool
Rocket
one.
Mail.
I kind of missed the dial-up tone. As annoying as fuck it was kind of cool. Because now it's just kind of like, it's there. There's no like process. It's like
it's plugged in.
I remember downloading
rock and roll.
Fuck. I was young at the time. It was when UT 2004 came out, and I had downloaded the demo. I was trying to download the demo. It took all fucking night to download on dial-up, and I kept getting pissed off because my dad kept getting pissed off because I was using the internet, and he was, and I was getting pissed off because he kept interrupting my fucking download, and I just wanted to play a UT 2004 demo because I wasn't able to afford the fucking full game at the time until I figured out how to pirate shit, which I've done since then, and so I don't pay for shit now.
Fuck that.
I have got like $50,000 worth of software on my computer.
Are you sure?
I don't pay for shit. I allegedly have $50,000 worth of software.
There you go.
Let me fix myself. Allegedly.
Allegedly. Maybe.
It's like I allegedly sent those tweets.
Exactly. Crumb, you were asking Ken a question.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Ken if Ken believes that every house should have a bun, and if you have the right to bear buns.
A bun?
Yeah. Bun. And what is your feeling on 3D printing buns, by the way?
Oh, I love buns.
Do you?
I love the way they feel in my hand. I love the feeling whenever I squeeze them. The way they explode in my hand. Oh, no, it's not all plastic. Some of it's plastic.
Well, that's if you're 3D printing.
The part that's considered a legally registered bun is the part that's printed. The rest of it's regular bun parts that are not regulated in the States because we actually have freedom. You guys can tech.
You keep saying that. Are you sure you have that? Because you said it a couple of times.
Let me ask you this: Can you own an AR-15? Can you walk to a store and go buy an AR-15 and leave with it today?
Are you talking at Walmart? Sure. Why not?
Can you leave with an AR-15 in Canada today?
Well,
certain parts of Canada, yes, probably.
Yes, especially Yukon. Especially
with a 30-round magazine and semi-automatic.
I mean, probably in Alberta. Of course. Probably in Alberta. Because you know, like the elk and deer out in west there, and the fucking moose, like they're packing.
Oh yeah, you ever seen the size of those sons of bitches? My God, the same size of a small fucking car.
There was a joke a while back about what was it? The 30 to 50 feral hogs. It's actually a real thing, and like where I live, there's actually feral hogs, and you need a good weapon like an AR. To be able to defend against the feral hog, because they will fuck up everything. They will eat anything. They're good people. They're good to feed bodies too. Not that I know from personal experience.
Exactly, internet. Like my grandfather used to raise hogs. No correlation here. And the thing is, those fucking teeth. Oh my God, they'll go through everything.
Well, like sometimes you just need a 60-round magazine on an AR to prove a point to a fucking moose. Like that's all it is.
Right?
100 round drum is better. One. Also, sidetrack. Jippy in the chat is taking a shot at me. So I'll go ahead. Not with a gun. Thank you.
Right.
Not with a 3D printed one either. So Jippy is. So yeah, Jippy is saying because I don't pay for software. So I said earlier in chat while I was still doing the text chat before I jumped on the stream, that like for example, the place I work at, we have like 10 counselors. We bill at like 150 an hour for counseling. That is nowhere near how much we actually bring home. It's all relates back to the insurance thing you were kind of mentioning earlier, Mr. Hop. And so while we may, for example, bill 150, for certain insurances, it might end up being 75 for the intake, 60 for the session afterwards. Some of them we do like a Medicaid equivalent billing because we don't take Medicaid because of the stupid requirements it comes with. So we offer them a cash rate of around like 35, 40. And then some of that goes to me and the rest of it goes to the place I work at. So and I've mostly done that up until recently. I haven't, that was more of I haven't had money for quite a long time, and it's been a long journey to get where I am at now. And it's still a process of growing in the field I'm in. So, but
yeah, Ken had to scale a mountain and throw a ring into a volcano.
What's that?
Ken had to scale a mountain and throw a ring into a volcano.
It was effectively kind of like that.
It was exactly like that. What are you talking about? Kind of.
I've worked a diverse set of fields in my day and careers in my day, and to get where I'm at now, and just because we bill it a certain amount, I only make a chunk of that. I make a decent chunk of that, but I only make so much of that right now, and it will go up depending on how long I'm with the company. And there's some pretty decent shares over time, but. Anyway, it's not like I'm taking in 150 or the whole place. We have to bill at it. Like most insurances will only match half of that. And so then based off of that, it's based off a cost share or copay. And so it's a lot of a pain in the ass. So it's not 150. We're not making 100. I guarantee you, no one really walks through that door paying 150. No one.
Well, it's the same thing with like law firms too, right? Like the top partners are making the most, but they're billing the most, but there's no way they're making $500 an hour. Like that's overhead so much. Yeah.
we should talk about Nick about that.
Super chats are more lucrative, says
dude. Nick is already so I will guarantee you, Nick takes home about less than half of what he makes in what he sees in super chats. So it's already 30% off of the top for YouTube.
Of course.
Then his effective tax rate is probably somewhere in the 20 to 40% range.
I was going to say.
So somewhere of the 270,000 he's made so far, he's probably only seeing like 150 of that. Maybe. Being generous.
Yeah.
Being generous.
Yeah.
So
again, the whole YouTube, my opinion is just astronomical. It's like, hey, you deliver all the content, you do all the work, 30%, motherfucker. What?
Just do a dark side fill, and it's a donation, so you don't have to claim it on your taxes. And when you do a bankruptcy, it doesn't count. Exactly. So just do a DSP. It's a donation.
That's the way to do it.
It has nothing to do with exchange for services. You're literally just donating to me. I'm not a 501c3 or anything. I'm not a nonprofit. You're just donating to me. I swear it's not earned income. Promise. Promise is IRS. IRS pie. I promise it's just donations IRS pie.
That's right. Yeah. Get in the fucking Pokemon ball.
Get the book. You throw the balls at them when you need to.
I will liquefy you if you don't believe me. I believe you. Do you believe that?
What was it? Someone was mentioning in chat how back to the buns thing, how California has a 10-day waiting period. That's because California is not a real state.
It looks like
California.
A real state.
It needs to you need to do what was the movie Escape from LA, or you just need to cut off California and just float it away. I'm okay with that. I think most people are. Take Oregon and Washington with it too. Just cut off that side and push it.
Aren't they working on that through the Angelo fault there?
We have a fault there. We just need the big fucking quake to come and get rid of them.
Exactly, and it's 2020, so
I would be okay with fencing off California.
I think Joe Biden needs to do more fracking in that area just to get that quake up and rocking.
It's unlikely to cause the quakes needed.
Okay.
But I do think that California is suppressing the rights of a lot of people, and I can't wait for the new Supreme.
Yeah.
Well, did you say how so, Mr. Hop?
I did. How so?
I'm
not saying that with Venom. I'm just saying how so. What they do?
So the way they're handling gun sales, purchases, and transfers, their handgun registry, all of it is pretty much unconstitutional, and it should not hold water. The Supreme Court has refused to take a gun case in. The last one they took was in 2010 with McDonald.
Ooh,
and yeah, it's been that long. And now that we have a 6-3 majority and we don't have Roberts being the deciding vote, I have a feeling that there will be a lot of gun cases coming to SCOTUS soon and a lot of shit getting overturned. Thank God. Because there shouldn't be a 10-day wait. The whole no wait for, the 3-day wait because I'm going to, allegedly kill my spouse because I had a domestic incident. Yeah, that doesn't really happen.
Well, let's 1 second. Let's have a quick look at this. If you have a 10-day wait to buy a firearm like that, but you have a 0 wait to get a Pokemon ball, I don't see what the real problem is.
Well, so for example, more people die in the United States from blunt object homicides than they do from rifles.
Yes.
That is very true. And that's including shotgun. Yes, it is so much. Yes, my Pokemon balls are so much easier to kill people.
Exactly.
So that fucking joke about bullets. It's like, you want to stop gun violence, just start charging $10,000 for a bullet.
Look, I've been trying to find bullets, and I can't right now, and it's fucking not okay.
It's like, I'm gonna get a second job in a couple of years, motherfucker.
And that motherfucker's gonna get it. Damn.
The only way I can buy ammunition right now is if I buy it in 1,000 rounds. And trying to convince, you can't. It's not. None of the ammunition is on the shelf at Walmart. None of it is in stock anywhere.
I heard. Wait a second.
Everywhere it goes on sale, it's out in 10 seconds.
Yeah, I was going to say,
it's fast.
Put aside here. I heard there's an actual real severe ammo drought going on in the U.S. right now. Like I heard
it's bad.
I heard a lot of stores are completely sold out, which kind of scares me a little bit. It's like, the fuck is going on down there? Well,
it's a great thing.
I think it's a 6 1/2. Half is another type of thing. It's like, okay, people are armed. What the fuck's going on? Oh, listen, Biden got voted in office. There we go.
We have more legal guns owned in the United States than we do people. We have probably now, because the study that was done a long time ago was around 400 million guns.
Yeah,
legally owned. We probably are upwards in the neighborhood of 600 million legally owned guns. And now that we have 3D printed guns, the game's over. There's no gun control anymore. You can't stop it. You can't stop the signal.
There's the surface aspect, to keep the general public.
And then there's also the gentleman, one of the group that has helped make some of the biggest leaps in the 3D printing firearms area has also created Project But What About Ammo, which is how to basically make your own ammunition in countries that are not, like in most European countries, all the shit you need to buy to make your own 9mm.
Yeah.
So we've hit level 45 in Fallout where we can just start using tin cans to make ammunition.
You buy certain things. You can buy the primers. You can buy used things, and you can repurpose them, and you can make 9mm ammunition. It is very simple to do. There's the guides used for not only that, but for like the FGC-9, which is the gun that can be made in anywhere. You rifle the barrel at home in a bucket with you print out the tool that does the rifling, and then you put that in there, and you do electrochemical machining. You need about, I think it's $100 worth of parts is a one-time investment for the equipment, and then you can make barrels like one after the other. It doesn't take long. So you can machine barrel after barrel after barrel. and none of the parts are regulated. None of the shit can be traced.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love this shit. Plus, the guys who are in this field are fucking hilarious to look at. Their Twitters are the funniest shit to follow, man.
While you guys are building rifle barrels, us Canadians here are building Iron Man suits and lightsabers. So
yeah, okay.
Did you hear about this? We have some nerd that's in his parents' garage that actually made a lightsaber. And basically what it was is
he made a real lightsaber.
Serious. Yeah, basically what it is that it's a high-powered cutting torch.
Plasma beam.
And yeah. So basically he made
a thing.
Yeah.
Have you heard of David Hahn?
I've heard the name, but I can't place it.
The radioactive Boy Scout? The kid who created literally a nuclear reactor in his shed?
Yes, I heard about this kid. Yeah,
he created a breeder reactor in his fucking shed.
Yeah, I heard about this.
It was awesome. And this was back in, I think, what was the 80s or 90s. He created a breeder reactor in his fucking shed. And I learned a lot about it because of the field I used to be in. I used to be in a lot of shit that dealt with nuclear stuff. And so the way he did it, like, it was awesome. He got a bunch of, like, smoke detectors to get the americium out of. He
took stuff from here, stuff from over there, piecemealed it all together.
He wrote letters to professors and shit with spelling errors. It's like, I'm interested in this. Can you tell me more about this? And they told him how to basically make a breeder reactor. Like,
and he built it in a fucking shed.
Well, to be fair, a breeder reactor is very easy to make because a breeder reactor, and it sounds crazy at first, a breeder reactor outputs more than you put into it. So if I put X amount of uranium into it, I'm going to get more than that amount of, say, plutonium out of it. It's really cool in principle. So it's very simple to make. That's why we don't allow those in a lot of places anymore.
And on top of that, how old was this kid putting all this stuff together?
I think, what was he, like early teens, if that?
Exactly. By the time it was all said and done, he's like in his mid-20s or something.
He was trying to get his nuclear merit badge.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the fucking greatest part of that.
Amazing.
Yes, he's dead now, unfortunately.
I wonder why. Well,
no, he actually ended up he became famous for all this, but he died of a drug overdose.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Accidental drug overdose from alcohol, diphenhydramine, and fentanyl.
Oh, it would have been amazing if he died from radiation poisoning.
Just
go at a fucking legend.
There was a rumor they superfunded they made his shed like a Superfund site because of the it was like 1,000 times background radiation levels in his shed. Well, to be fair, background radiation levels are really low. Like, you're talking, for example, if you eat one banana, you're getting about 1 microbecquerel of exposure. It's very little. That's from potassium 40. So you eat a banana, it's radioactive. I mean, you get more exposure.
Like tuna fish, like radioactive right now too.
Most everything's radioactive to some extent.
Like really super duper, like you're not supposed to eat a lot of
There's a whole thing that's coming out of fucking Japan that happened
because there's a bunch of tuna that were fished.
Nothing happened to Japan. That was fake news. Okay.
Of course,
there was nothing that happened to Japan.
We just throw all the magical sparkle, nuclear waste in the ocean. It just goes to the bottom, and that's fine. There's nothing in the bottom of the ocean, anyways.
Well,
the rain came in. Exactly. Giant creature monsters.
Release the Kraken.
Didn't a politician try to do that in the States recently?
The Kraken?
Yeah, basically she's.
Well, Sidney Powell is saying she was allegedly on Trump's team for the lawsuits, but she's not now. Is my understanding, or wasn't? But she's the one who threatened to release the Kraken. Okay, she threatened to.
I gotcha.
Whether it's up in question whether or not she's actually released the Kraken. Now, there has been a lot of shit that's come out recently in some recently filed lawsuits about the shit that's going on around the election. It's sketchy as fuck. I am really looking forward to seeing where it goes. I'm not gonna lie. I would love to see the state legislatures change the electoral votes, just because it would be unprecedented. I don't think it's happened before, or if it has, it happened like once, to where enough states decided to take over. Because the way it works in the United States is each state is, so you're familiar with the electoral college, right?
Yeah.
So each state gets up so many electors, and they have to meet a majority of 270. And so each state in the Constitution is allowed to assign electors as they want. Before it was within the last 100 years, I think, is when the states actually were like, you were voting for president and the electors were assigned based on the popular vote in the state. A lot of state legislatures used to choose the assignment of electors, because you would vote for your local state legislator and your House rep, and then they would pick, based off of the party affiliations and all that, who the electors would go to. And it made sense. Since then, most or all states do the assignment of electors based on winner take all, except I think it's, Maine has it broken up into 2 or 3 districts. I think one area,
a couple different districts.
Yeah, and I think one state does it proportionally. It's not actually winner take all. But the state legislatures can and might take over and take back the assignment of electors to the state legislature, because they have the ultimate plenary authority to do so.
it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because I know there's arguments on either side of it on what parts of the Constitution protect that and what don't, and some states. I'm not sure. It was like freaking Amendment 16 or like a million amendments. I don't know them all off by heart, but there was one that was protecting. I know, failed my American history course.
Hashtag failed.
Hashtag failed. But there's arguments saying that the states have full authority. Some say that they assume that they have too much authority. Some say that counties have authority. There's big arguments about it, and the Supreme Courts are reluctant to rule on any of it. So it'll be really interesting to see if precedent does get made, which is, again, going back to the earlier discussions, why I think it was a positive thing. It would be a positive thing that Trump gets moved out, because this is going to force a lot of change that otherwise wouldn't have happened. Because people, number one, didn't know about this shit existing until like this stuff started being a problem. And number two, this has been broken for a very long fucking time. And I think that Trump is stubborn enough that he's going to kick the door down to make sure it gets fixed.
Well, when you say broken, do you mean broken as in our system's broken? Or like the electoral college is broken? Like, what do you mean by that? Just to clarify.
The entire system is archaic. It was built for the 1800s. It wasn't built for modern day.
No, I think it was built for the structure of the states. The electoral college, without it, you would have a really damaged country. I don't think it would work. You need the electoral college for the United States to function. There's no other way to do it.
I agree. I'm not saying abolish the electoral college in any sense. I'm saying you need to tweak it. You need to modernize it.
How do you modernize it?
I don't know. If I knew that, I would.
Is Crumb American? Should it be up to you guys to figure that stuff out? Jesus Christ!
If I knew that,
knuckleheads out here in Canada, with the mooses and the wild
if
hogs.
If I knew that, I wouldn't be on YouTube making a shitty show every week. I'd be in the ears of politicians telling them what to do. But like, that's honestly, it's a question. Like, no one knows. No one knows what would be a better system right now.
I don't think the electoral college is broken. I think it works as intended. I think it works fine.
Here's a question for her. Why is there a popular vote and then the electoral college on top of that?
There is no popular vote. We do not have a popular vote.
That's a media term.
That's literally just all the states and all the counties counting up and going, this is the total number of people who voted for Trump. This is the total number of people who voted for Biden. It doesn't hold any legal or political, like there's nothing that matters about the popular vote at the presidential level. It's not a thing.
Mr. Hop, the proportional vote for the electoral college is very much similar to how we do it in Ontario, like how we do it in Canada, by population, right? So For example, most of Ontario's votes come from Toronto, just because Toronto is
I
the
see.
biggest area.
I get it.
And instead of having like 60 wards in Toronto, which all vote individually, the Electoral College breaks it down per state, and then they go by county.
Yeah,
and then it's based on it's like New York has a higher population than like Nebraska, for example. So New York has more votes in the Electoral College because of the representation of the population.
Yes.
The Electoral College only breaks down to the state level. It's not assigned at the. I mean, it's assigned by the districts technically, because each district you're not actually voting for. Well, because even though each district may vote one way or the other, if the state's a winner take all, the electors are assigned on the winner take all basis. So if the majority of that state votes for one person over the other, then the way it works is the party sends electors from. So if, say Trump won that state, the party, the Republican Party will send electors that they think will most likely vote for Trump at the actual Electoral College. Now they don't actually have to vote for him, which is interesting.
That would be again a restriction on free speech, etc.
Yes, there are states that have faithless elector laws where you can be fined if you don't vote based on it. And I don't remember what the outcome in the most recent case on that was. It was interesting, if I remember correctly, because again, it would be forced speech. Can you make someone vote? But it's also, are you entering a contract? Like, it comes down to the states have the full authority to decide how the electors are apportioned.
Yeah.
Can they force someone to vote for it? I think it's an interesting topic.
Well, it's kind of funny because. Sorry, go, Crum.
There was a lot of discussion and arguments and bickering back and forth over the way that Georgia counted and Pennsylvania counted and stuff like that, saying that the governor general, whatever the hell the person is that ran the election, I don't know the official thing, so don't blast me for it. But the person that basically oversees the election, the person that's like has the authority over the election, they don't have authority to change how people can vote. Only the state legislation can make that change. And some people were arguing that again, whether they're right or wrong, courts have yet to rule on it, and they seem to be reluctant to rule on it in the past. If the person that is authoritative over the vote is allowed to change the rules, and that's why Pennsylvania is looking at getting their entire thing thrown out right now, is because that's what happened in Pennsylvania. They allowed specific things that didn't fall in line with the rules of the state that were in their particular rule set, and the state never actually authorized any changes. So there's a challenge on that particular thing, from my understanding.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting because the Supreme Court of the state said it wasn't a big deal, but the fact is that the law was in place that said absentee ballot changes need to be done via constitutional amendment. They didn't do a constitutional amendment. The court dictated the terms of the absentee ballots. I think that the Supreme it went up to the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, and they said, "Oh, we'll allow ballots so many days after the election too." Like, that was a thing, and I don't believe they really have the power to do that. That's again, state legislature decides the elections. Court really doesn't. So, will the Supreme Court take the case and uphold that these amount of absentee ballots shouldn't have gone in? Because if I remember correctly, it was like 1.5 million absentee ballots were requested, but they got in over 2 million absentee ballots. Where the fuck are these other 500,000 ballots coming from?
Well, I heard that some states voted like 300% beyond its populace, so that's always kind of interesting too.
So, it's possible to have a high or over percentage vote based in your county. Like, if you have more people, because it goes off of like maybe old pop numbers or old registration numbers. New people register.
That's what they forecast.
People move. Yeah, so it's possible to have like 103%, 105%. But if you're getting like 140%, like, I don't know if that's a number, but like if you get 140%, that's like something doesn't seem right here.
Yeah, I think the highest was Pennsylvania, 123%, which is very curious, very weird.
I'm telling you, again? It's the unliving challenge.
I
think Pennsylvania was 123%. I think that was the highest one. It might have been 132.
Just to me, it's like, how do you get more absentee ballots to that amount than requested? Because that means they were sent, and some states did send out quote unquote universal mail-in ballots, where they were just sending out ballots to whoever was registered, whether they were dead or not, whether or not they changed address, changed states. They just sent out ballots to people, and they assumed that no one would do anything bad with them. Yeah. Some people got multiple ballots. Like, it was sketchy as fuck.
Well, then you had the one case. You had the one case of that healthcare worker that went to the old age home and started taking all of their ballots and filling them out for them.
That's disgusting to me.
It was nasty. It was so ridiculous.
It should never happen.
This is stuff that's not necessarily Joe Biden's fault or Trump's fault. It's coming down to persons, like people and that stuff, and it's coming down to poor decision making by governments of the states and
I don't
things like
think
that.
There's people have suggested a grand conspiracy. I don't think there's that. I think there's a lot of little conspiracies. I think there's a lot of little people who are taking the steps in their area. They're like, I have the ability to do this. I don't think I'll get caught. If I get caught, it's not a big deal. They don't prosecute this anyway. The bar is too high. And so you have a lot of little people contributing to it. And I think that's how we're here where we are today. Does that mean that the election should be overturned? I don't know. I think that's a hell of a bar to change.
That's something that needs to be looked into. And I think it's highlighting the issues that have been plaguing elections for the past 50 years. I think with the population that has gotten so exponentially larger than it was 100 years ago, and all this other stuff that you put on top of, like, you didn't have absentee ballots and all this other shit like back in the day. You're adding so many layers onto things that were never originally intended to be there, and now you're like all of the cows are coming home now. Like, we're seeing all of these issues. And like, it needs to be addressed. Like, this stuff needs to be looked at. Like, it needs to be rubber stamped, and at least the holes in the freaking boat need to be plugged, because clearly, if this has been happening now, this has been happening for the past 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Like, it's there. It's there. It's just never been seen before. And so if you look at it, it's like, well, okay, if this election was fraudulent and all this stuff, and it was torn apart, well, if it has streamlined to this point now where it's gotten much better than what it was originally, how fucking bad was it 15 years ago?
Well, this is the funny part. Through the Trump administration, I'm picking up on, again, for what it's worth. This is really, like, this one administration, just one, is bringing all of the negative stuff of the U.S. politician aspect to complete light. Like, as example, how Hillary Clinton won the Democratic Party.
Well, and it's not a bad thing. It's just,
Oh yeah, no, for sure. The thing is, this is like unprecedented, because before this, it's like, well, how does George W. Bush win the presidency? Well, it's because his brother Jeb in Florida went, well, we're flipping it. And the thing is, again, it went to the courts and stuff like that, but that was pretty much the long and short of it. But again, through the Trump administration, from what I'm seeing, is that we're seeing all of the nasty, nasty steps are taking place. And it's also showing how the underbelly of America works and how all that comes in the forefront. Because, again, as long as I've been alive I've never heard this many problems before in the U.S. when they come down to it, to this election aspect.
Well, it's being made very public, very ugly.
Yes.
And like, there's a lot of emotions on both sides.
Yes,
that
I would.
Honestly, I wish that we had that reform here in Canada, because we, as Canadians, we've been so apathetic about elections for like 20 fucking years. It's just, people just go to the polls, and a lot of it has to do with exhaustion because of the years that we had, where we had like election every fucking month kind of thing.
Well, yeah, that's back in the Stephen Harper days, for goodness sakes.
It's like, my understanding of the Canadian system is that y'all have basically the tyranny of the majority going on because of it being a popular vote all the way across for.
Kind of. Basically,
so I don't know the full system of my understanding on that one. So
what's been taking place from jumping time here is basically, again, we've had several majority governments which basically push their actual agendas through. And because of that caused a lot of strife up here in Canada. Like, as an example, Stephen Harper.
Here's an issue that doesn't get talked about a lot, right? We have governments that take power, and they unilaterally make changes. So if they're majority governments, they can just go ahead and write in whatever the hell they want. We also have senators that don't have term limits. And so senators assist the government in passing laws because it's not just the parliament that passes the law, it has to go to the Senate. So when the senators die, it's literally the only time that they get replaced or they retire. Whoever's sitting in power fills them with their favorable positions or whatever else. So if it's a conservative government, they'll fill it with conservative senators that will stay there until they die. And so when you're talking about law, especially if you have a majority of right wing or left wing politicians that are sitting in the Senate, you can just write whatever the fuck you want as a majority government, which is dangerous because then you get into situations like Trudeau came up with that oil company. I don't know what the hell that company was that he got in trouble with the Quebec company.
You're talking about the pipeline?
No, it was that fucking like that one company that he had like issues with the chick, the attorney general that she quit over.
Yeah. Anyway, I think,
yeah, that shit happens all the time. And if anyone's surprised about this crap, it happens all the fucking time because you literally have no idea what the governments are doing behind your back if they're a majority government, because everything just goes business as usual and they come out and they tell you what you want to hear. Now, we have the system where we don't have a two-party system. Like, we don't have to have basically only have two people to vote for. We have like 6 or 7 parties, 5 of which make the ballot because they have to have specific amounts of people in parliament to actually be considered political parties.
Yeah,
which muddles the vote because up until I guess it happened about like 15 years ago. We used to have multiple conservative parties, multiple liberal parties, and then some moderates. But now it's been more or less like 3 liberal-minded parties. So we have Green, Liberal, and NDP, and we've had 1 collective conservative party, which was an amalgamation of 2 or 3 smaller conservative parties that used to be, until they decided, we can't beat the Liberals, so we're just going to amalgamate into 1 party and then run as the Progressive Conservative Party
of Canada. Yeah.
Of Canada. And now we're seeing the People's Party of Canada, which has opened up as a true left, a true right party, whereas the Conservatives have kind of leaned to the left. So whereas the United States has a lot more right-leaning politicians and left of center, we have a lot of left-leaning politicians just right of center, with the People's Party actually being a true right party for the first time in I think 20 years.
Yeah, and on top of that, the most recent election for that particular party didn't go over so well. Like, they got destroyed. We're not talking like a little bit like you got voted out. We're talking like no. Basically, people's backgrounds were opened up. Basically, people who were part of the party quit halfway through the campaign. There were scandals going left, right, and center. No pun intended. And at the end of the day, the party just complete fucking meltdown. We're talking like throwing a Pokemon ball at it and watching the splatter take place.
Sweet.
Oh my god.
So like when it comes down to like right now, so the first term for Trudeau, he had a majority government, and then when his terms was up, they had another election in which he won a minority government, which means his party doesn't hold enough seats to pass legislation. He needs the support of other parties to do so. And at any time, he can make it so that it's a confidence motion in the parliament. And if the other parties disagree and declare they don't have confidence in the government, that will dissolve government and force an election. Yeah. And so it's a very contentious piece of things, a contentious piece of politics that got abused a lot by the conservative government for about 5 or 6 years. But it's been used by Trudeau recently to kind of force something once.
I saw that he prorogued the parliament. What was it, a few months ago or whatever?
Yeah, that was an interesting. Proroguement's a bit different.
Okay, so I'm interested.
Yeah, so proroguement is basically putting a stay on all parliamentary proceedings to kind of just give time for people to cool off. Because if it's in the middle of a controversy or whatever else, they'll prorogue parliament to have discussions with party leaders and things like that to avoid a particular situation.
I thought that pushed a new election for the parliament or something.
No.
Is that the UK one?
That's non-confidence.
Yeah, basically what happened was that Trudeau basically put some legislation through, and he put a non-confidence behind it. So in other words, is that if the parties didn't vote for this or
then they would
vote against it,
non-confidence for the government.
and the thing is that would spark an immediate election in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
So what happened was that the Conservatives just got a new leader in position. So the thing is that the Conservative Party right now is
politically it was a gamble by Trudeau because he was betting that O'Toole didn't have enough public support because he's a brand new leader just getting his feet in with the Conservative Party. So he put a confidence vote in front of Parliament to try and force an election that would be favorable to take Conservative votes away so that he could get a majority government, because he's pretty close to majority. He's a few seats short of a majority government. So it was a political gamble by him, and the NDP did not want to they were actually going to be in danger of losing seats over the Conservatives. So it was their best interest to not have an election. The Conservatives obviously wanted to push for an election because they were confident in themselves, but the NDP were the ones that were going to be losing seats, and so they were the ones that supported the Liberals' proposal and avoided a non-confidence vote. So there's a lot of really weird nuances, and it's really interesting when you get into minority governments in Parliament and stuff like that, because then you get the actual working with, as opposed to kind of like a stalemate when you have a red president or a blue president and a blue House and Senate type of thing.
Yeah, and also the thing about this as well is that if the other parties vote against the government for this, then basically it's looked on the actual sitting government that they sparked this election, which Canadians go, you got to be fucking kidding me! We just voted your bastards in there.
Generally, it's okay for one, but I mean, if you start doing it multiple times, then it gets tiring.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that be careful with that, because Canadians hate fucking elections. They don't want to go out and vote and shit. They want to go back to their fucking jobs. They want to go to Tim Hortons and their Timbits, and that's pretty much what Canadians want to do. So the thing is that if you have another election within a very short period of time, a couple of years, people go, "What the fuck's going on here?" So that's when the real politics begin, because people can no longer be in power anymore, and people lose their jobs, and it's like fuck.
So I hate to run, guys, but I've got to go cook dinner. My wife hasn't been feeling good today or yesterday, and so I got to go cook some steaks.
Yeah.
It was good. I might be able to hop, because I got to grill outside. I might be able to hop on while I'm grilling the steaks. So I'll be on my phone, so I won't have my nice professional setup that I've got now. No jokes there. No jokes about that.
I think we're about to wrap up shortly anyways, because we're
going on.
Pushing 320 already.
Yeah, it's 320 already. So.
That's what happens when you bring Ken on.
It's true.
Oh, Ken's always awesome. You know
Ken makes long streams. Yes. Look, let's not look at the Toye streams for that. Not at all.
No. Oh my god. Toy box.
Toye. We need a t-shirt. We need a t-shirt of Ron with his hands on the front of a toy box with his head poking out or something. So someone needs to make that. Not me, because I suck at graphics.
Just need a toy box with the shitty soy haircut and glasses.
Well, there's that.
And the salt and pepper beard.
No. Or I don't know. I hate to make fun of it, but I also, part of me wants to, because I mean it's horrible if he went through that, but the way he's been abusing, he abused the hospitality here, he's abused the hospitality elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I had a friend once, a quick story. I had a friend once when I was in the fire department. He used to make fun of my mom all the time, telling jokes and shit. Whatever. It was part of whatever. Yeah. One day was getting pissed off, so I made a joke about his mom. Dude almost he launched at me and almost punched me in the face. Turns out his mom had died not too long ago from cancer or something.
Oh, geez.
I didn't know, but he opened up the door. It's not my responsibility to know. So while it's
with a toy chest.
So it's almost along the same grounds. If you throw the first punch, if you throw the first insult, be ready to expect what's coming back. You cannot be mad at me for making fun of your mom if you made fun of mine. Now, I think that's fair. So,
yeah, if you throw the first horse hoof, I mean, expect it. Come back, I guess.
I mean, I'm sure those are in stock at the Toye household from Monica. But
that and forks.
He's got to buy them in bulk.
Exactly.
So I buy ammo, he buys horse hoofs, and probably remotes. So
Battery.
probably good discount.
Batteries. Need the batteries.
Well, there's probably double A's and D batteries purchased. Double A's for the remotes, D batteries for other things.
Okay.
The bigger remotes.
The bigger remotes.
The vibrating remotes.
The remote controlled vibrators.
The vibrating spinning remote control.
Oh my
There you go. There you go.
Well, enjoy your steak, Ken.
I will.
Thank you so much for joining.
I'll catch you guys another time.
For sure, bud. Good talking to you.
No problem. See you guys. Have a good night, everyone. Good night, chat.
Get out of here, hoser.
God, he's gone. Thank God. Talk about.
Well, we're gonna. I mean, we've been all over the place here today. It was really good.
Oh, we have been. We have been. So let's bring things back to point. How do we wrap up today's wonderful, fantastic broadcast, Crumb?
Well, final thoughts, Mr. Hop.
Well, I think my final thoughts is that if you're going to be edgy, make sure your content is up to date, not 2 years out of date. And what else? Yeah, America's going to get interesting really quick. And the question is, will people think President Trump when this is all said and done?
Well, I think that there is a lot of good on the way. I mean, I think in 4 years, I think Trump's going to run again. I think he's going to win.
It's my honest opinion. I think it's going one of two ways: either what you're saying down to a T, or basically he gets so pissed off he just leaves everything, just backs his hotels and playing Monopoly.
Well, my hope is that he cleans up the system. And this entire thing cleans up the system, not only in the U.S., but I think other nations hopefully take note as well. And I think I hope people around the world wake the fuck up and start taking action.
And the thing is that so far he's showing what the underbelly, what the United States electoral process is all about.
Yeah,
everyone thought it was this really cool demographic. Everyone votes and everything's good. Blah blah blah. It's like no, there are so many twists and turns, and a lot of it's completely unfair. So,
yeah. No, I agree.
Goodness.
But I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you guys for the people that agreed with us, people that didn't agree with us. You're still allowed here too.
Of course, we can always disagree, and if we don't like it, we'll block you from everything.
Exactly. We'll just block you like Ron did his father on Facebook.
There you go. Don't forget, that's his hero.
Exactly. You're our heroes, chat. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you.
As always, keep your stick on the ice. And until next time,
be kind to each other.
Bye-bye.